Mic check 1 2 1 2. Shout out to everybody in the room right now, coming in the room. OG Weston's in here. We got Poets and Rhymes. Y'all are always in here. We appreciate that, man. It is Monday, and there's been a lot going on, a whole lot going on. If you hadn't heard, Kendrick Lamar is going to be headlining the Super Bowl halftime show, which is going to be in New Orleans, Louisiana, 2025, and there's been a whole lot being said by the hip hop community. What up, Mad Max? Mad Max is in here already. He says, "Hey, Dolph Hitler getting hate for the Wayne snub. Love it." Wow, I think you're referring to Jay. All right, so these are the things we're gonna be talking about today. We're gonna be talking about a lot, but main points. Kendrick Lamar, first of all, we got to congratulate Kendrick Lamar on getting the halftime show. It's a great accomplishment. It's actually the first hip hop artist, solo artist, to actually do the show. What up, Leroy? Might have to get Leroy in here today because it's a lot of Jigga Man slander out here. So, I would love to hear one of Jigga Man's biggest apologists. What he got to say? Wayne being snubbed for 2025 at the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Gonna cover that. We're gonna cover this LL CoolJ and Q-Tip produced album. Excuse me, LL CoolJ album produced by Q-Tip, the fourth. But one of the first things I want to talk about real quick while we're getting people in the room. Mad Max says Dot is ADOS Hitler. Oh, is he? Okay. I see what you did there. All right. You guys heard that ASAP Rocky and JCole song? Speaking of, Cold Wars and stuff going on out here. I just listened to it again right before the show. Dope record. ASAP's killing it. J. Cole does what he does on features. It's the first time we've really seen J. Cole outside with an MC since all of this stuff came down. And it's very interesting to me. Very, very interesting to me. He's actually on a record with ASAP Rocky. I was this weekend, man, we just playing some songs, you know what I'm saying? Just kicking it at the crib. Thumbs up in the chat. Thumbs up in the chat. And we played Fucking Problems on you know what I'm saying? We just kicking it on the ASAP Rocky album. And I'm sitting here like, yo, both of the guys on this record are now dissing Drake, that being Kendrick and ASAP Rocky, and vice versa. And it was another record too that Drake was on. I was like, both of the people on here he has issues with. Now, what record was that? It'll come to me in a second. I think it has something to do with Rick, but it really is a 200 versus 1 situation out here. Hold on 1 second. Oh, yeah. It is a 200 versus 1 situation out here, but I think something that is very noteworthy, and I know I'm probably going to be the only podcaster to speak about this because everybody loves J. Cole, as they should. J. Cole's a stand-up dude, great MC and all of that. Nobody is talking about the fact that J. Cole went out here and collaborated with ASAP Rocky. Like, I mean, you just came off tour with Drake. Y'all did First Person Shooter. That was your man. You went out there and did this whole mixtape. Y'all was going to Kenny, all of that stuff. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. But my bad. Anyway, yeah. Sorry about that. I'm just getting texts coming through. Thumbs up in the chat, everybody. But yeah, you out here, you know what I'm saying, making the mixtape and going to Kenny with Drake and everything else and collaborating with ASAP Rocky. Now, all of that aside, I think the song is dope. But I just think it's interesting that ASAP, number one, chose Cole to finally collaborate with on a record, and the timing of it all is very interesting. Is J. Cole not rocking with Drake anymore either? Like, what is going on? So I think the song is dope. I don't think people are talking about it enough, and I guess people aren't talking about it enough because they kind of think that it's kind of whack that he's collaborating with him right now. Me personally, I think the timing is bad. I don't really know what the next steps are when it comes to J. Cole and the records that he's about to put out there. I think the anticipation for his upcoming album has kind of kind of fallen off a bit. I think that Kendrick is taking the year, and we're gonna get to that in a second. But J. Cole had a lot to do with Kendrick being able to take the year, in my opinion. I think if J. Cole would have stayed, either stepped out the way initially or stood firm and, you know what I'm saying, this back and forth, and make sure this back and forth was more of a competitive MC who's the best of the big three thing, I think that this thing would have turned out a little bit different. The biggest winner here clearly is Kendrick. And, you know, Drake's always going to be Drake. He's going to do his numbers and everything. But I think the biggest loser here is by far J. Cole. And the fact that he's rapping with A$AP Rocky over this dope A$AP Rocky record, and he's rapping at the level that he's rapping and nobody's really saying much, kind of proves that point. Are you guys excited about any new J. Cole stuff? Did you even listen to the record with him and A$AP? Other news before we get to Kendrick. Did I freeze on y'all in? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. Other news before we get to Kendrick headlining the Super Bowl. Do y'all care about the fact that Eminem is opening up the MTV Awards? It's been announced that he is going to be opening up the MTV Awards September 11th. He is he's gonna be, I won't say a headliner, but you know, that's the big opener. So, you know, I don't know if people still watch the MTV Awards. You know how I feel about award shows. I think it's a bit of a dead technology, but we will see how that performance goes. Eminem's a good performer. That I will say. I hadn't really seen him perform in many years, but you guys say J. Cole's credibility is shot. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It's tough. I like Cole and everything, and I think he made a fatal mistake that I don't think we've ever seen an MC make. And it's not that his mistake was to take the high road. His mistake was to go out there and then abandon ship and just totally moonwalk on everything you said and did over a 48-hour span. And you let the guy who did a lot for you in that time period take all the bullets. And I don't know if anybody really appreciates that. And even if you're not a Drake fan, you got to understand that, oh, that's what it was. I was listening to D4L. No, it was a Future record. That's what it was. Not to be all over the place, but I was listening to What a Time to Be Alive, and I was listening to Jumpman. I'm like, both of the guys on this record, being Future and Metro, are now dissing Drake. And I don't know, man. I need a little bit more context on why everybody is ganging up on dude. And that brings me to Kendrick Lamar being announced as the Super Bowl halftime show performer. It makes me feel like Not Like Us was calculated in that sense, where there was a concerted effort from the machine or from some sort of institution to make sure or to co-sign Drake being taken down a peg. I mean, and I think that kind of solidifies it. Why else would Kendrick actually be headlining, you know, the Super Bowl halftime show in New Orleans? This isn't one of those legacy things, right? If it was a legacy thing, Lil Wayne would actually be doing this. And that's just the God honest truth. If this was a legacy thing, Wayne would be actually performing at the Super Bowl halftime show in New Orleans. So this is more of a current thing. And you're seeing people talk about relevancy, Wayne's not relevant and all that. And it's very sad to see people sit here and try to disrespect Wayne to justify the BS. Because let's just call it what it is. Wayne not performing at the Super Bowl halftime show in New Orleans, Louisiana, is some BS. Now, I think that Roc Nation or whoever else had a hand in choosing, you know, the halftime performers. This would have fared well if they would have stepped outside of the genre. If they would, because I was hearing that they were going to get like Miley Cyrus or something like that, right? Somebody who is, you know, outside of hip hop or outside of, let's just say even urban music altogether. But to choose Kendrick Lamar, and the only thing that you can really point to for choosing him is really not like us. Like, I don't think we've ever really seen somebody get chosen for a Super Bowl halftime show based on one record. And it's not, that's no disrespect to Kendrick's catalog. We know what Kendrick's catalog is like. You know what I'm saying? His catalog has been like that. And I will give him credit. Album for album, he is a step above his contemporaries in his generation. But he just was on the stage when Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg had the Super Bowl halftime show. He was just there. You know what I'm saying? And I called it too on our on A2HH Live. I was like, he's gonna do all right. The song "All Right," that is, because he really didn't have any other record that the people were gonna connect with like that. I do think that Mad City is a banger, you know what I'm saying, for a certain pocket. But if we're talking about that Super Bowl audience, what records would he have to go out there and perform with the likes of Snoop and Dre and people like that? All Right was the one. He just did this like 2 years ago, right? And months later, he was able to give us Mr. Morale. Now, it's not like Mr. Morale has added to his catalog in a way where he can go out there and do Super Bowl performances on those records. So the only record that has changed the trajectory here is Not Like Us, which, I mean, you guess got to say it's the record of the year in hip hop, and most people are super tired of the record. Let me get to the super chat. Shout out to CJ Kid in the building. Shout out to you, sir. He says, at first I thought it was Rap Avengers versus Drake battle, and it would be over. Since then, more artists took shots. Now Jay co-signs this. It's official. The industry is trying to ja rule Drake. I mean, that's what it looks like. It looks like everybody has made a concerted effort to get into this whole, let's get this guy out of here. And you know what it also looks like now? When you see people like this get involved, thumbs up in the chat, man. Let's get some more people in here. It also looks like somebody hit up JCole and said, step aside. And that's the part that's really weird, because JCole was right, as he should have. These guys go back. These guys go back to the beginning. You can YouTube them buying each other's record in Best Buy for their debut albums coming out. Like, they look like they're real life industry friends, or friends that came up in the industry together. He just took J. Cole on tour. He gave J. Cole, his first #1 record with, first person shooter. It's a perfect rollout for what J. Cole has lined up. And so, shots are fired and this and that. And Drake didn't even say anything at that point. Kendrick comes in with Like That, and J. Cole jumps out the window, as any other friend would do, or somebody who was mentioned in that whole big three thing is hip hop. And then after he does that, 48 hours later at your Dreamville Festival, you had the opportunity to go out there and summer jam a nigga. You go out here and apologize, fine, whatever. Kendrick didn't go out there and do the same thing. Kendrick had the same platform to go out there when he did his concert and be the quote unquote bigger man and be the righteous one in that light. Did not do that. He stood, he stayed the course, and he went out there and performed this record like 6-7 times. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, M opening the MTV Awards, but it's in Queens. M's not from Queens. Stop it. We never do this. MTV Awards is something else, man. Let's keep it real, man. On a rap level, Eminem owns MTV, man. Like, I think, well, they owe their success to each other. MTV's MTV without Eminem, but I do think that Eminem owes a large part of his success to MTV. And if you don't, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I've spoken on this many, many, many times. But MTV really, really got behind Eminem in a way that made his records continuously catapult, helped him sell the records that he was able to sell, because he was on the largest stage with the largest audience watching him. And MTV supported his rap music more than they ever supported any other rapper's rap music. OG Weston with the super chat says, facts. I don't think fans give Drake enough credit for competing. If he had taken the Cole route, hip hop this year would have been another dud. I agree. You know, you can say what you want, and we all know who Kendrick is lyrically. And, you know, I don't think anybody thought that Drake lyrically would out rap Kendrick. I mean, I think I said this before when all this stuff was brewing up in the first place. Kendrick needs to go out there and out rap Drake. But even with that being said, he stepped in the ring. And, you know, I got love for Cole, man. I know I keep saying that. I'm just being real, man. But as an MC, and as a competitor and as somebody, you know, who over the past 3-4 years has been rapping about being the best and rapping at his zenith and talking about he's at his prime and all that, which I feel like he is, him backing out of this situation, it looks weird. It looks weird because were you scared of Kendrick? Were you ashamed of battle rapping? I mean, you made those records, you made that mixtape. Or did somebody tell you, you know what, you're getting in the way? You need to move aside real quick. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, let's be honest. This is about Drake fans fake caring about Wayne. They don't want to see another dot victory lap. I don't think that's what it is. And you know what, Jermaine? I do think that Drake fans are extreme. DJ Academic being one of them. But I do think that this era and an era before this has a huge, huge amount of respect for Lil Wayne. I mean, when you look at the rap game right now, it got Wayne's fingerprints all over. Wayne is probably one of the most impactful rap artists ever. And if we're talking about to this generation, he is the one. I think the only other person you could say is Kanye, but I think Kanye probably inspires from a different range, right? Wayne's inspiration is all over the place. You got guys looking like him, sounding like him, having the same approach as him, even this druggy type rap. That's all him, whether that's, you know, positive and negative, right? And I do think that they view Wayne as the GOAT because the people that they came up feeling like is the GOAT, you know, always said that Wayne's the GOAT. So I do think that there's a real, real respect for Wayne out there. And I think most hip hop fans, if not every hip hop fan, feels like this is some BS. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, where was the fake outrage energy when Beyonce headlined the Super Bowl in New Orleans? What's the difference now? What changed? Okay, this is what I would say changed, Jermaine. Now you got Roc Nation actually over this halftime show talent. They weren't over the halftime show talent when Beyonce was out there. Now you got Dr. Dre and Snoop headlining in Los Angeles, right? Also, like I said before, I don't think there would be any outrage if it was an act that wasn't a rap artist. But for you to pick another rapper who doesn't have the tenure as Wayne, when Wayne has, and since then as well, let me factor this in there as well. Wayne has really integrated himself with sports. I mean, being on the show with Skip Bayless, being all about football, and really getting his feet wet, if you will, into sports, into football specifically. So, and he's also said that he wants to do it. You know what I mean? So, and then you got somebody like Jay-Z, who everybody felt like, and let's keep it all the way real, and we're going to have this conversation tonight too. We are going to have this conversation tonight as well. Thumbs up in the chat. With Jay-Z, from many people's vantage point, when he crossed the picket line and started working with the NFL and Roger Goodell, when there was still a bit of a protest out there, people felt like, look, Jay's going to go out here and do the right thing for the culture, right? That was the narrative. It was like, got to sit back and wait for the chess move. You know what I'm saying? So those factors are a little different from when Beyonce went out there and did the Super Bowl in New Orleans and the power went out and all of that stuff. I don't think that we even expected or even thought that a Super Bowl audience would embrace, you know, a Lil Wayne at that time, but the time is right now. And the people are in place now, and it's been proven now that you got Dre and Snoop in LA. That kind of set a precedence. And again, if this would have been Miley Cyrus, if this would have been Taylor Swift or something like that, I don't think anybody would have said anything. But to have Kendrick Lamar, who was just on that Super Bowl stage, it looks weird. It looks strange. And then you got Jay out here co-signing it like that was the right move to make in New Orleans. Mad Max to the Super Chat says, Hov wasn't picking acts in 2013, Jermaine. Stop it. There we go. Jermaine Johnson with the Super Chat says, hip hop has never been represented this much in the Super Bowl until now because of Hov. And now he's the bad guy. Everybody just relax. Yo, you gotta stop texting me. You gotta stop texting. It's distracting. Let's see. Who else we got? Oh, yeah. Okay. So what do I think about Kendrick doing the halftime show? I think, and I'm gonna echo the sentiments of my man Ron, man. And I know y'all think Ron be like, you know what I'm saying, going too over the edge when it comes to Kendrick and his takes on Kendrick. And I do think there's a little hater in that, you know what I'm saying? He just don't feel Kendrick's music. I get that. But I will say this, man, like for Kendrick to be getting all of this stuff going on, he got to have an album, man. And I know Academic is a super Drake fan, but it is interesting that he posted a screenshot of Kendrick's last 4 tweets. I guess they're over like a 6-month period because Kendrick doesn't do any social media and all that, and that's cool. All his tweets were Euphoria, other song, having a brain freeze, all the stuff about Drake, right? And Drake's ghost account basically, you know, was like, listen, man, I got you here. And it looks like that, right? Like it seems like the mainstream industry, and I know Kendrick's done his numbers, right? It seems like the mainstream hasn't embraced Kendrick this much ever. And it seems like it took for him to go at Drake to do so. And Not Like Us is the reason why he's doing the Super Bowl halftime show. So my feelings on that is I wish that Kendrick had another great album that he had put out that is the reason for, you know, all of this adulation. I just think that when you see someone who is this talented and who's had a career to this magnitude continue to get elevated and get elevated even more just off of records where he's going at a guy that clearly everybody wants out of here. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's coming from a right place. Not Like Us is a dope record. It's a hot record, but in this climate where records don't last in the same way that they used to, I think everybody's tired of this record. And we saw the performance. I thought the performance that Kendrick put on was great. We streamed it live here on our not on the YouTube channel, but we did it on Twitch, man. And it was dope. You know what I'm saying? Commentated it and everything. But you're not going to be able to go out there in the Super Bowl and perform Not Like Us 10 times. So if he's going to do this, I think Kendrick needs an album by November. I think Kendrick needs something more than these records about Drake, because that performance that he put on, which was dope, that was a summer jam. I'm going to Drake on some aggressive stuff. Wayne would put on a better show. I think Wayne would have more notable records. I think Wayne would have the home crowd. People really underestimate the love that Wayne has in New Orleans. I think it's a real big missed opportunity when Wayne could not only get you that mainstream audience, but get you that mainstream coverage, but he could also give you the real New Orleans in his performance as well. I wonder how this was missed. And see, these are the things that I think about when these things are released. It's like Wayne's such a good dude and has done great by everybody. Like you don't really hear people having too many bad experiences with Wayne. Wayne is a very good dude, humble dude, been here for a long, long time. His career spans about 30 years at this point. And you know, the Hot Boys are reuniting at Louisiana Fest, and all the Hot Boys are free now. This was a big moment. They're doing Cash Money reunions and stuff. How dope would that have been with Master P out here being an ambassador for this weekend musically? How dope would that have been? We finally get an opportunity to not only see Lil Wayne get his flowers on a Super Bowl stage and all of the people who've ever worked with him, because everybody's going to come out and show Wayne love, but also you get to see the core of Louisiana come out there and share the stage. How dope would that have been to be able to see No Limit and Cash Money share the stage? You know what I'm saying? Like Wayne could have brought all of those things together. And the people of Louisiana and the people of New Orleans and shit, all the people in the South in general should be offended, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that's literally like, you know, because we can't relate to too much of that stuff because Andre 3000 doesn't want to do anything. But let's just say Andre said, yo, man, I would love to do the Super Bowl with Big Boy. And it was up to Jay-Z and you know, Roc Nation or whoever. And the Super Bowl's in Atlanta, and Kendrick Lamar, because of Not Like Us, is headlining the Super Bowl in Atlanta when Outkast said that they want to do it. That's crazy. Jay wouldn't do that to Brooklyn, and that's just the reality of the situation. Jay would. Oh, I'm gonna talk some of the tweets too, because I'm giving a whole bunch of my opinions. I want to get to Boosie's tweet. Let me go to what Boosie tweeted real quick. Shout out to Boosie, man. Okay, we got it on the screen. Keep it on the screen, Ron, so I can read it from the screen. I ain't got to look at the phone. So Boosie tweeted, y'all acting like y'all cool with how they playing it for the Super Bowl. Shaking my head. The most cultural city in the U.S., New Orleans, is smacking in the face. It's a smack in the face to every hip hop legend from Louisiana. That is true. Master P, Birdman. This show they never wanted y'all to kick in the door in the first. This shows that they never wanted y'all to kick in the door in the first place because they still trying to lock it. Super Bowl 22 was in Cali, and Cali artists were allowed to do their thing. It was a great show. But now it's in Louisiana, and no Louisiana legends can't do their thing. I don't respect it. I respect everything that Boosie just said. DJ Academic says, I feel you, Boosie. Jay-Z just don't fuck with y'all niggas like that. Ain't no conspiracy. He makes the decisions. You think a Cali nigga would ever headline a Super Bowl in New York, where he from? I just said that. Listen, CJ Kid with a $20 super chat showing love. So for K-Dot, Future, Metro, Rocky, Weekend, Ross, YG, Gunna, Pharrell, Gambino, the whole West Coast, and apparently Nicki herself snubbed Drake in tweets. Then the Jay-Z cosign, like I said, Ja Rule and Drake, LOL, game over, Mike. But the question is why? You know, and I guess we can delve into that in another time, but I mean, damn, what did Drake do to these guys? Mad Max in the super chat says, ADOS Hitler bringing Snoop and No Limit. No, man. And I heard people saying, oh, well, he can bring Wayne on the stage. Listen, bro. Listen. He shouldn't be the one to bring Wayne on the stage in the first place. You know how much more tenure Wayne has than Kendrick? I mean, it's not even close. It's such a slap in the face, acting like for whatever reason, Kendrick needs to hold the door open for Wayne. Like, that's crazy. Who said that? CJ Kid with the super chat says, Nicki went on a Twitter rant on Jay. Someone tweeted the barbs to stream Ether. Someone tweeted the barbs to stream Ether. LOL. Are we gonna you got the Nicki tweets loaded up? Because I want to talk to Nicki tweets real quick. This is just hip hop's reaction, man. Master P even said something. Master P's being very diplomatic about it. But even he said, Oh, there it is. We got Master P here. This is what Master P had to say. Salute to Kendrick Lamar for performing at the halftime show, Super Bowl. Well deserved. He's one of the hottest music artists in the world and has one of the biggest songs right now. As an ambassador of entertainment in the city of New Orleans, I have to agree with the fans that Lil Wayne should be a part of the celebration as well. He's one of the greatest hip hop artists alive, still relevant, and he's a New Orleans native. Let's not miss the cultural moment in the South. Life is too short. We have to give our legends their flowers while they're still here. Well said, Master P, and very diplomatic. But the truth of the matter is, like Academic said, I can't believe I'm quoting Academic like this. Jay wouldn't let that happen in New York, and he shouldn't. You think if the Super Bowl was even in the Meadowlands, you think Kendrick Lamar would be headlining that? Come on, man. It's a slap in the face to Louisiana. It's really a slap in the face to the South. And Jay's been down here. He knows how the South really rocks with their artists. I mean, shit, that's why he jumped on High. That's why he jumped on Money Ain't a Thing with Jermaine Dupri. He was trying to take regions, you know what I'm saying? And he understands that regions really rock with their regions. And the fact that you thought this was cool to do this, I hope that Jay comes out and really talks this through and really says why Wayne wasn't chosen. And that whole narrative that Wayne didn't want to do it, that you can't even use that because Wayne has said explicitly that he wants to do it. Cameron and Mace got on this show earlier. It is what it is. Shout out to Cam and Mace. And they couldn't rock with it. They said, man, it's dirty style. They feel like it's a personal thing. They feel like Jay came from a personal area. I don't know what he got against Wayne, or maybe it's Birdman or whoever else, but he blocked the situation. Listen, I don't know that to be true. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and jump into the rumor mill and all those things, but I do want to get to what Nicki had to say, and she had some very strong things to say about Jay-Z. And Nicki has done nothing but give Jay-Z respect throughout her whole career. So obviously, she knows something. Nicki has always said that Jay is her GOAT. She's always kind of wanted to be the female Jay-Z. They're born they're in the same month. They kind of carry themselves in similar ways. You could tell that Nicki's kind of patterned her career in moves as far as like being above it all with some of the other female MCs and being very competitive in that way to Jay. So she respects Jay to the highest. But for her to say these things, oh, we got tweets on the screen. All right, I'm gonna get to your super chat, CJ Kid. Got a lot going on today. This is what Nicki had to say. Denying a young black man what he rightfully put into this game for no other reason but your ego, your hatred for Birdman, Drake, and Nicki. I got you punishing Wayne. Wayne, the GOAT. Know you what's good. Eminem stood firm on having 50 Cent come out. A white man, shit is sad. House Negro things. But it's good. F them. No loyalty. Well, then niggas would keep sunning you. I will give her credit on that. She's right. Eminem made it a point to say that nah, 50 Cent's coming out here. And I got to give Eminem a lot of props for that because they could have clearly and easily done that show without 50 Cent. But Eminem was like, no, I want 50 out here. And they made it happen. Jay could have stood firm on having Wayne do the halftime show in Louisiana. I don't know what other politics were in play. I don't know if it was an Interscope thing, Apple Music thing. I don't know any of those things, but I do know this. I know that where there is, where we give Jay credit for taking that position to go out there and do the right thing culturally by the Super Bowl halftime show and gave him that pass for quote unquote passing the picket line or crossing the picket line at that time. We expect you to go out there and fight for what's right. And you know Wayne, you know Wayne's a good dude. You know that Wayne is the real choice for a New Orleans Super Bowl halftime show. And the real question is, why didn't you fight for that, even if there were some corporate pressures that wanted Kendrick to do this for whatever reason? You know, we can conspiracy theory all we want about why they want Kendrick on that stage. But Jay, why didn't you fight for Wayne to do that Super Bowl halftime show? That is the only right answer. And you sit here and say, any of us in this room right now, we got a Super Bowl halftime show, and it's going to be in New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, you could pick a hip hop act. Who you picking? Is anybody going to say Kendrick Lamar? Come on. CJ Kid with the super chat says apparently Drake did something to cross Beyonce, and plus Drake and Jay traded shots before. So this is just Jay being petty Jay. Yeah. CJ, I'm sorry, OG Weston with the super chat says the Super Bowl is an international event. K-Dot is hotter right now than Wayne. Money Talks is bigger than New Orleans. Well, OJ, excuse me. When has the Super Bowl halftime been about who's hot right now? These are more legacy performances, and they have been for some time. To sit here and act like Wayne's still not a big deal out here is dishonest. Does Wayne have some new music out here that's crushing it? Not really, right? But his features are still relevant. Wayne is always going to be relevant. Wayne is still relevant. The people that Wayne is connected to are always going to be relevant. The cultural impact of Louisiana and what they're trying to bring on the world stage, Wayne encompasses, and that's always going to be relevant. Whenever they do a Super Bowl at a certain location, what do? They market that whole location the whole week, whole 2 weeks. And so what better way to sell New Orleans and how rich New Orleans is culturally than to have someone not only that is New Orleans born and raised, but somebody who is a global icon that is really from the soil. I don't know what you're talking about. That's deeper than some hot song for the moment. And to keep it real, the song's only this hot because it's about Drake, one of Wayne's artists, right? We got to keep it real, man. This record is not hot on its own. This record is hot because it's about Drake. And honestly, Kendrick is hot right now because he was dissing Drake. He was going in on Drake, and he got a whole bunch of support for it. Was Kendrick hot like that before he jumped on like that? No, he wasn't. We were saying that he fell off because Mr. Morale was not what it was supposed to be. But when he started going at Drake and he started getting a little bit of fire under his wings, and he dropped 4 records in 4 days about Drake because he dislikes this man so much. Oh, now he's the hottest in the world. Now how hot is Drake? Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says Jay is thinking, F this. Let white folks take back over. Every move that I've made since partnering with the NFL has been criticized by black folks. Well, first of all, he's not going to say that, Jermaine, because let me rewind this. Do you honestly feel like he's made the best choices? I think the LA one was great. I think Dr. Dre and Snoop was a great move. But before that, we had Jennifer Lopez and Shakira. And that was in Miami. And see, again, you're staying, but see, we're sitting here acting like this is a different situation. Since Jay took over, he was doing what was true to those locations. They gave a whole Latin performance when they were in Miami. When they went to LA, they had some LA natives. Why would you do this? Because really what you're doing is slighting the cultural impact of Louisiana and the artists that are from Louisiana. Hold on 1 second, guys. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, oh no, I already read that. My bad. We already got Jermaine Johnson. I think I seen another one here. Okay. Max, shout out to Max. He said Usher didn't release an album 8 years and he did the show. Exactly. Guys, man, we got to stop this. You know what? This is the speech I want to give OJ Winston. And I say this respectfully. I love you, man. I appreciate you always tapping in with the show. Hold on 1 second. I appreciate you always tapping in with the show. But what we gotta stop doing, just because we like certain people, we gotta stop giving them a pass when they're wrong. When you're wrong, you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, is picking Kendrick over Wayne in New Orleans wrong? Sure it is. But just because Jay made the decision or seemingly made the decision, it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. And it's not right. Uh oh, I think we got CJ Kidd here too. I got Siobhan coming in here too, because I know he's gonna really be caping for Jay on this. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, Mike, I told you, trying to think it is nuts. Truth is, Drake crossed B and Cam / May said Jay still has tension with Wayne. Petty Jay, that simple. Well, if that's the case, CJ Kidd, and that's what it is, we got to stop this whole thing that certain people are doing things for the culture. This is for individual power moves, which is, it's part of the game. It's what it is. But I think that we've always viewed Jay as somebody who makes moves based on the cultural movement and making the culture better. Now, it's interesting, man, because somebody like a LL CoolJ who has an aura of having a super ego, he's the one out here actually doing things for the culture and doesn't even want to go out there and get props for it. He's just doing it because it's the right thing to do. If LL Cool J somehow was over this Super Bowl halftime show, who do you think he would pick? I don't know. I mean, that's just my 2 cents on that. But yeah, I'm not asking Kendrick to decline it. You never decline an experience like this because, again, this is a once in a lifetime thing. But when you got the Super Bowl coming up in LA, or at least in Cali in 2 years anyway, in the next 2 times, I think, why couldn't you just wait till then? Like, damn, why shit on Wayne like this? I don't understand it. But again, it's not just us fans talking. When you got people like Nicki, Birdman was out here talking crazy. He's talking about F a hater, this and that. When you got people like that speaking out, Master P, who actually know what's going on in the interworkings of this thing, there's a problem. His Birdman's tweets. He says, hating shit for real. These niggas P, Nicki, Drake, Lil Wayne, Young Money, C, and B. I'm making these niggas respect us on Gladys. They're taking this as disrespect. And I'm gonna be real about this, guys. And we can have this. It's a Jay kept game off the show. We can have this conversation further on this show, but to me, this kind of hurts Jay's legacy for a certain generation. People got to understand how the current generation views Wayne. Honestly, for many people in this current generation, they view Wayne at a higher esteem than they view Jay. And maybe that's one of the reasons why Wayne was left off this stage, which is unfortunate. I don't like the now I'm an executive and I'm still going to be competitive type thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's like if somehow Michael Jordan was the GM of the LA Lakers and he's sitting here, controlling how many minutes LeBron James has because he doesn't want him to pass a record or something. Like, come on, man. Like, if you want to get competitive on some rap shit, get competitive on wax. Get competitive on some rap shit. Don't go behind behind the veil, behind closed doors, and being competitive and blocking people out and locking people out, especially somebody like Wayne who's done nothing but good. Jermaine Young with the super chat says Usher also had a residency in Vegas, killing it. Yeah. And trying to make this about who's relevant and who got hot music right now, like that don't even make sense. That's not what the Super Bowl stage really is. Because really, when Jennifer Lopez and Shakira did the Super Bowl, what did they have out at the moment? And if they had something out at the moment, it wasn't like it was the hottest thing out. Mad Max to the super chat says, if Dot loves Wayne, he would have said no. Let's explore that. Should Kendrick have said no? Should Kendrick have had enough cachet out here to say, you know what? Super Bowl is going to be in Cali next year and the year after. I'll let Wayne do this, man. Let him do this for Louisiana. I'll be on call for the next one. I mean, I don't think that's I mean, do y'all think that's wild? Really, man, if you love the culture and you really got respect for Wayne and what he's done, and you're not thinking on some competitive, I'm better than this person, this and that, and the third, yeah, I think that's a legit thing to do. I really do. I'm glad you said that, Mad Max. I don't always agree with you in your stances, but I think that's legit. I think that, yeah, he should have said, you know what? Um, I'll pass, man. This is Wayne's to do. Hey, man, I think you got a point there. I'm not trolling today. Why do people? I'm not trolling at all. What am I trolling about? I mean, I think where some people are, you think that some people could do no wrong. And listen, I've been there. I think that when you're influenced and you're at an impressionable age, or you were influenced by certain people at impressionable ages, they could do no wrong. But you got to look at the situation for what it is. Until we get more details just on the surface, it doesn't look good. It's not a good look. There's no real legitimate reason to hold Wayne back from doing this. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, tension. Hov and Wayne stood right next to each other on a Grammy stage and helping Wayne get his his back taxes in order. He's doing the right thing. Well, first of all, Jermaine Johnson, I'm gonna be honest. Jermaine Johnson. That Grammy performance you're talking about was a long time ago. And honestly, that whole tax story is a long time ago as well. There are people in this world, and I'm not saying Jay-Z's one of these people. I don't know the man, never known the man, whatever. Incredible MC, the greatest I've ever heard. But there are some people in this world who will do things for you so that they can do things to you and nothing can be said about them. There are people in the world who do that. Again, I don't know anybody's heart. I know this. This was the wrong move. This is the wrong decision. This decision wasn't coming from a real place. This decision was coming from somewhere else. And if there is a better reason to pick Kendrick Lamar over Lil Wayne in Louisiana, I think Jay-Z owes the culture an explanation as to why. There's nothing wrong with that. If you truly stand on, you make a controversial decision, a decision you know is going to be controversial. You owe the public in the hip hop culture reasons of why you made this decision. And it's on everybody else to say, yo, I understand that now, or that's some BS. You know what I mean? Oh, Jay Short's in the building in a big way. Lord with the super chat says, Jay did he said Jay did the soul thing with Def Jam. I guess he meant the same thing with Def Jam. You know what else Jay did? Jay also told the people when they were in Atlanta during this whole Kaepernick stuff, when the Super Bowl was in Atlanta, I think he was telling Jermaine Dupri, I believe, to not do anything with the Super Bowl. And Jermaine Dupri kind of did his offshoot stuff or whatever, and then turns around and goes out there and works at the Super Bowl and then tells people that we're past that. I remember Sauce Money saying that, Jay was telling him to not work with Puff, not write for Puff, whatever. And then he goes in the studio and Jay's out here writing for Puff. But again, man, look, it is what it is. Jay Short with the $50 super chat showing super love, man. Jay Short, I ain't seen you in a minute. What's good, brother? He said, I hate to say it, but Young Money did not really make songs that moved or defined the culture like that. They made hot records, but that's it. If anything, Juvenile would be on that stage doing Back That Thing Up, and we know that's not going to happen. I disagree with you, man. I think you're understating how big Lil Wayne was for the time period that he was like on top. And I think you're understating his feature game and the people that he could bring on the stage. The man had songs with everyone. Like I don't even know where to start when it comes to what his stage show will look like on a stage like that. But you know what? I think that's something that could be explored too. And I really want to go through Wayne's catalog and speak to the songs that I think should have been on that stage because I was able to pretty much call Dr. Dre and Snoop's halftime performance. But see, Dr. Dre and Snoop, with the guest appearances that they had and the people they were able to bring out, they didn't really even have to do many of their songs because Dre just did Still DRE. He did he even do G Thing? Yeah. And no, he did Next Episode. And then Snoop went out there and did he didn't even do What's My Name, and I was very upset about that. Did he do Gin and Juice? I need to go back. Y'all give me a track list of what Dre and Snoop did because I know that Mary went out there and did her song that Dre produced, and 50 did In the Club. Kendrick did All Right, and Eminem did Lose Yourself. But yeah, shout out to Jay Short. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says that Grammy performance was one. Well, oh, you talking about that one? I forgot about the God Did joint. Yeah, it is weird. But you know what? They were just seen together at a Michael Rubin event too. So I mean, it's dirty work to be that close to somebody and then that person just overlook you when you're the obvious choice as well. I mean, really, Jermaine, you're kind of making the point that this is even dirtier than it seems. Because yeah, he has been around Wayne. I want to know what Wayne thinks of this. And well, you know what? I don't even have to know what Wayne thinks of this. We hear what his managers have to say. We hear what Birdman has to say. We hear what Nicki has to say. So I doubt that he feels totally opposite of that. And we also hear the interview that Ron played at the beginning of the show where Wayne said he wanted to do it. So, and Cash Money's catalog is crazy. That would have been a celebration of the past, present, and future of Cash Money Records. I think people are understating not only Wayne's catalog, but Cash Money's catalog. And bringing the Hot Boys on the stage in New Orleans and then Juvenile going out there doing Back That Thing Up with Manny Fresh, they could clean up the record. You know what I'm saying? Everybody heard that record. Come on, man. Like, let's not sit here and act brand new. They could actually clean that up. Now, Bling Bling, I don't know if we're going to get that on stage, but I think with Wayne's crossover appeal, y'all do know Billboard, not to say Billboard's the end all be all, but, Billboard charts the successes, and they ranked Lil Wayne as the 21st biggest pop star of the 21st century. That means something. You don't become that big to mainstream America without no records. So we're not going to sit here and act like Wayne just ain't got nothing like that. His impact is crazy. His impact ain't for no reason. He got records to match it. 2HQ with the super chat says Wayne is not as hot or as strong of a performer as Kendrick right now. Why is that unclear? It's not that that's unclear, it's that doesn't matter when it comes to picking Super Bowl performers. So you want to tell me that Dr. Dre and Snoop are the hottest in LA right now and the strongest performers in LA right now? No, they're legends. You know what I'm saying? If you're having the Super Bowl in LA, we don't care if Kendrick's rocking right now or if YG's rocking right now. You're not going to get the stage over Dr. Dre and Snoop first. They get that first. It is what it is. So I don't like the fact that people are bringing in new elements like that even matters. That doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. That's why I'm sick of the Super Bowl. All right, well, before I get Siobhan online, man, and because we're going to probably go back and talk about this and what his perspective is on this, and might have some other people call in too, but I want to talk about this LL album, man. I think LL might have dropped the album of the year, and I don't want to jump out the window too quick, but The Force was definitely a surprising piece of work for me. Jay Short with the super chat says, "Why are we assuming that this is Jay's decision? This probably wasn't even an NFL decision. I'm sure this had to go through the networks too." Well, yes and no, Jay Short. And maybe it wasn't Jay's decision, but you know what? When he took this position and took this job, we made it seem like it was such an accomplishment. And so when things are good, we're giving him the credit. And when things don't go that well, you got to get the blame for that too. You can't just sit there and say, "Oh, well, when Dr. Dre and Snoop got on stage, I did that. But when this happens, oh no, that was network television." No, you can't do that. It doesn't work like that. You got to take the wins and the losses. If you're the head coach, you say you're the head coach, then you got to take these wins and losses. Now, if it ain't like that, he need to come out here and say it ain't like that. So yeah, I'm not going to do that. We can, pontificate, if you will, if he is the decision maker here and there, but he said he was. He made us think he was. That's what the whole Goodell meeting and all that stuff was about, right? So that's what it is. Christopher Hogan with the super chat says, "Jay and Birdman never liked each other. Wayne called a stray on this one. I'm from Louisiana. If you know, you know. Jay and Wayne have respect for each other. Wayne has immense respect for Jay. He says his favorite MC. So that's why that kind of hurts even more. And they were just out together, and like Jermaine Johnson said, they were just performing together not too long ago too. Web Visibility with the $20 super chat showing love says, "If there's anything we've learned about Jay over the years, he's always going to do what is in his best interest. He doesn't care about anybody's feelings. He's determined this was the best choice for Roc Nation." What does Kendrick have to do with Roc Nation exactly? Again, Nicki's outbursts made me look at this a lot different because she knows. She has information. Oh, she has some more to say. Nicki also says, and by the way, you don't know the half of what Lil Wayne has done for me and others. Wayne had Drake and I on his tour with no paper sign. He was on all my mixtapes with no paper sign. This man was literally changed the face of hip hop. The hair too. You know. He inspired so many. Tats on their face, getting locks. Inspired your favorites to want to be great MCs. He was never in this for the money. It's always been for the love of music. Shout out to you. Shout out to Nicki, man. I love the fact that Nicki's riding for Wayne like this, man. And this is the type of stuff that I was critical that Wayne didn't go out there and ride for Drake like this, but shout out to Nicki, man. Jay Short with the super chat says, "Mike, the NFL don't even hire real black coaches. You think they're gonna let a black person make decisions in their boardrooms?" Listen, I hear you, Jay Short, but he told us and he made it seem like he was there to do that. So unless he's going to go out there and say, "I don't make these decisions," we're going to have to give him the blame for this until he goes out there and says, "Listen, this decision was over my head." But again, even if this decision was over his head, just like many black politicians who say, "Oh, I can't do this, this, and this," we at least want to see you fight. And I think that even if this decision was over Jay's head and he couldn't make this decision and the NFL made this decision, I would have liked to have seen Jay fight for Wayne in this situation. Is that fair? Can you at least see somebody fight? Because I think he would have fought for Brooklyn. It is what it is. But yes, LL CoolJ, The Force. I think The Force is a phenomenal piece of work. I am very, very pleased about this album. I think this album, hold on one second. Okay. I think this album, I already had high hopes for it, right? Because, Q-Tip's my guy. Q-Tip's an incredible producer. Low End Theory, Midnight Marauders. We could go on and on, right? But seeing him pair up with LL CoolJ was odd. It was kind of an odd pairing, right? But these are the type of things that show you who the real producers are and who the real artists are. It's very easy to jump into your comfort zone and go out there and work with people that, people can actually see you working with. We never saw this happening. this was a Queens connection, and I think they knocked this one out the park. What I noticed mostly and what really stood out to me was the level that LL Cool J is rapping at. On a lot of the stuff, I mean, I never really took LL for like a lyrical miracle MC. He's more of a songwriter and hit maker in that sense. But he's getting real lyrical miracle on here, but still giving you the singles as well and giving you actual records. And so you got a guy who, in the producer standpoint, we're talking about Q-Tip, he's an album maker. He can make some singles too, you know, Bob Thing Award Tour, you know, he got Check the Rhyme. He can do those things as well. But I think this is I don't want to overspeak, but if we're talking about from a sequencing standpoint, this is one of the best LL Cool J albums I've heard since he was working with Marley Marl. And I know how much Q-Tip looks up to Marley Marl, and I'm sure that that was the mark. He probably had many conversations with Marley Marl. I wouldn't be surprised if Marley wasn't in the studio as well. But man, LL's pen game on here, the versatility, you know, the content, the creativity when it comes to the content. It's something that I haven't really seen from LL, maybe ever, if we're talking about it from that sense, because he said he wanted to make a cultural album. And I didn't know what LL really meant by that when he said that, but after listening to this, I get it. Web Visibility with the super chat says, Mike, is there an argument to be made that Kendrick would resonate better with a nationwide audience outside of the hip hop community? I don't think so, because I don't think that you guys are going to have to show me how you believe that Kendrick Lamar is more of a crossover cultural icon than Wayne is. You go to Wayne shows, you see a whole lot of versatility, man, or excuse me, versatility. You see a whole lot of diversity in Wayne's audience. Now, not to say that you're not seeing the same thing with Kendrick, but who is Kendrick's listener in comparison to Wayne's listener? Y'all sitting here acting like Wayne is just some local joker or something. I don't get it, man. Like, Wayne is a crossover audience. That's how Drake and Nicki were able to become the crossover audience artists that they were, because Wayne had a built-in crossover audience. No, it's not that I don't like Kendrick. I like Kendrick, but you just got to call things for what they are. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Mike, what's your reaction if Wayne performs with Doc and then Doc closes with Not Like Us immediately after? Could that happen? Good question. I don't think that's a good look on any level. I remember when Funk Flex and Rosenberg were saying what they were saying about Nicki and the Starlight thing or whatever. And I feel like Wayne and Nicki and all of them just pulled out a Summer Jam. It's a unit. You're not going to go out here and get chosen in my hometown, the Super Bowl halftime show, and bring me out and then go out here and diss my mans as the closer? No. In my hometown? No. It's not happening. Kendrick shouldn't even be in position to do that. So no. Listen, that's my reaction. I wouldn't want that to happen. When you say could that happen? No. It couldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. Let's see who else we got in here. Web Visibility with a super chat says, Mike, I really love the fourth, but I also feel like I can hear Black Thoughts ghostwriting behind some of these LL rhymes, though. LOL. Listen, man, you know, I have no knowledge of anything, but I will say this, man. LL's rhyming in ways that I've never heard LL rhyming, and his flow is crazy. The lyrics are there. The concepts are there. It's very incredible work from LL, man. I think it's album of the year, actually. Nas killed the shit, too. Yeah. Nas is rapping at a high level on there as well. Ron Wick with the super chat says, Wayne is a felon with gun charges. Between the election and recent school shootings, no way that they're going to put Wayne on that Super Bowl stage. What's that got to do with anything? Listen, man, you guys are coming up with any and everything to make this a deal. You know who else is a felon? I ain't even got to go there. Come on, man. I think that's a non-factor. And to be perfectly honest with you, for certain people, that's a knock, right? I think for Wayne and his image and what his image has always been, Wayne has always had that rock star image as a hip hop artist. And so for him to be a felon, it's like, so what? I mean, it's like Snoop. Somebody sitting here saying, you know what, we're not gonna put Snoop on this stage because he smokes. What? He's a rock star. So no, I don't think that factored into anything. What Wayne got to do with some school shootings? Like, come on, man. Like, that's a reach. That is a Plastic Man reach for sure. But yes, the Force. LL CoolJ really stretched himself as an artist. And I think that this album could definitely be, from what I've heard right now, and I've listened to the album like 5 or 6 times. I think this album's album of the year, man. This is album of the year so far. Mad Max with the super chat says, the Dotties, Mike, showing their real colors on Wayne. They really are. You guys are disappointing me because I thought that the Kendrick fans would be disappointed as well because Wayne should be your GOAT if you're a Kendrick fan, or at least close to it, right? Y'all are shitting on Wayne and acting like Wayne ain't who he is. It's mind-boggling to me. Let me make sure I get my man in real quick. Oh, there we go.
Yo,
super chat. What's good? He says, I think the issue with Wayne is that his songs aren't quite old enough to be called classic, but not quite new enough to be current. It was kind of like when Rihanna did the performance. So she did it. I don't understand. Like, you guys are coming up with any and every excuse why this was a valid decision. What were your thoughts on this decision, man?
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this as careful as I could put it, so it could be understood. And this is not even being a Jay fan or anything of that. I don't think this has anything to do with tension, because I don't know if him and Wayne have any issues. Like, people have, brought up some facts. He said that he was gonna work with him on future music, possibly. That was once said with Wayne, because he spoke on collaborations and stuff in his relationship with Jay, and also spoke about how he helped him out of a debt problem, and they have multiple collabs and been seen multiple times on that. I don't think it's what people think as far as Jay doing it as a self-serving purpose, because he doesn't owe Wayne shit. He doesn't have to do it. That's what a lot of people fail to realize, is when Jay does stuff, he doesn't have to do this for people. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't help his face. He's solidified. He has his stuff going. So when he does stuff, I think it's genuine in that sense. But I digress from that point. The biggest point here is it's a sense of entitlement. And I feel like everybody's speaking out about this, but the person that's quote unquote slighted, and that's Wayne. Everybody's coming to bat for Wayne, and we haven't heard Wayne say shit. And that's very telling. Another thing about it is, yes, it is telling, because Wayne.
In what way?
Because when Wayne has ever felt slighted, he's always spoken out in some form of fashion. We haven't got that yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, when Wayne has,
what? Give me an example of that. When Wayne felt slighted, because Wayne kind of stays to himself, even in the battle sense.
When Wayne couldn't get into a Miami Heat function, whatever, he went in the club and said he fucked Chris Bosh's wife or some stuff like that, and fucked Miami Heat and all that stuff. Wayne never had a problem speaking out. When he had discrepancies with Baby, he got on the stage and clubs and stuff like where he was at and spoke his piece on that. Wayne, whenever he felt like there was an issue with somebody, he had no problem speaking out about it. I don't know what that issue will be here. I don't think it's anything personal at all. I don't even think it's a beef. I don't even think it has anything to do with Drake. I don't think it's a slight against Wayne. I just think it's business sense.
How do you think? Do you think that Kendrick is better business in New Orleans, Louisiana at the Super Bowl than Lil Wayne is?
Let's not make this a New Orleans thing, because we try to make it seem like every artist from that city got to perform there will be full of shit. The Super Bowl was in New York in 2014. Who was the headliner? Bruno Mars.
But Jay
That's
wasn't.
New Orleans.
Since Jay has been over the Super Bowl halftime show, or at least Roc Nation, they have found a way to make the city and the halftime performers somewhat correlate.
No, not exactly. The only people you could say that for is Dre and Snoop and 50 and all them doing the stuff in LA.
What about when Jennifer Lopez and Shakira did Miami? It was kind of a Latin thing.
You guys have to realize there is a cultural influence there. There's the large Hispanic population, but you have to also understand what was going on around that time. There was the immigration stuff going around. I think Puerto Rico had just been affected by a hurricane. There's a lot of stuff that contribute to that, and it was in Miami. You didn't hear people in Miami saying, "Man, we should have put Trick Daddy up there. We should have put all them."
They weren't saying that, but yeah,
niggas were saying that. Nobody else was saying that on a broader scope because nobody wanted to see that. So let's be real, man. Let's be real when we say that.
Let's be real though, man.
The Super Bowl wasn't a Super Bowl.
They're not Wayne. Wayne is something else. Wayne is a superstar.
But hear me out. Nobody will be comparing or correlating the artists being into their city if it wasn't for that Snoop and Dre situation, because that was never a thing. The Super Bowl has been in New Orleans before in 2013. Who was the headliner? Beyonce and Destiny's Child. Why weren't they? Wayne was hotter then than he is now. His sale was bigger then than it is now. Why weren't people complaining about that then?
Because it wasn't Jay-Z and Roc Nation making those decisions.
Oh, so that's
when he stepped in there and did that meeting with Roger Goodell in the midst of all of that Colin Kaepernick stuff, he was put in place to kind of get black folks to stand down on this whole boycott. And he was put in place to do things for the culture, right? And people expected him to do right by the culture. He said the kneeling, we're past that. We're talking about one job. These are Jay's quotes, right? He's saying that, you know what, moving forward, I'm going to do things that are going to better the culture. So when opportunities like this come about, we expect you to go out there and make the right decision. Why do you think Kendrick is a better decision for the Super Bowl halftime show in New Orleans, Louisiana than Lil Wayne?
Let me further my point, Mike. Let me get this off. Because what you're basically telling me is it's cool to call Jay out for not giving somebody who's whatever general consensus of who they want there, but everybody was shut up when it was a white man calling the shots. Why do we feel more comfortable calling it out when there's a black man as opposed to it than what was happening beforehand? They culturally have missed the mark there. So they feel,
this question real fast because he made a pledge to say that he was going to do this, that, and the third. Wow, they never made that pledge.
Mike, when has he went against that pledge though?
Some people feel like right now.
Mike, when has he went against that pledge?
Like I said,
he made the Super Bowl halftime hot again. People every year you hear people complain about the Super Bowl performance, whether it's our own people, whether it's the other side. I'm never gonna watch the Super Bowl again. I'm never gonna watch. Yeah. I'm not viewing this. And what do? Go watch the Super Bowl because the numbers don't lie. People talked about everything under the sun when it was Usher, when it was Snoop and Dre. Hell, Snoop and Dre stuff won an award. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So like,
great performance.
If we say that Jay missed the mark, that would be a lie, bro.
Oh no, he missed the mark on that one. I think everybody was excited about that.
So was not the Super Bowl in 2019 in Atlanta? You're in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Was there an uproar about Atlanta artists?
Well, Big Boy actually performed.
Exactly. But he wasn't headliner.
It's funny. Jay's involved in that too because Jay told Travis Scott to not perform and then goes and does this deal. He told Jermaine Dupri not to get involved with allegedly, this is what people are saying or what those individuals have said. He told them not to get involved with what was going on with the NFL. And I guess he was probably in the middle of dealings and things like that. But yeah, Big Boy got on that halftime show stage and got criticized for it too. And I'll always remember this. CeeLo is the only one that went out there publicly and stood up for Big Boy in that moment. I was very disappointed in Andre in that moment as well. But that's a whole nother story. Well, let me get some of these super chats. Go ahead.
Go get it off.
All right. Lloyd with the super chat says, J stands are worse than M stands. I don't know about that. Jay Short with the super chat says, Mike, Tell me one song Jay has ever done dedicated to hip hop culture, or even a figure or a touchstone of hip hop culture. Can you name can name one for every top 25 MC? Yeah, I guess he's not about. I do this for my culture. We'll let them know what a nigga look like when a nigga rent a roast. All right, TJ with the super chat says black folks was not boycotting the NFL. Stop it. Some people said they were.
No, they weren't. And
but go ahead. I'm sorry.
So to further the point, right? They had in 2019, it was in Atlanta. You didn't have a major Atlanta artist headliner out. All those great MCs that's put on the list now, whatever, in Atlanta. You didn't have one headliner. Who was the headliner?
Was on there.
Who was the headliner though?
Maroon 5 was. But again, I think that, like I said, this goes over slightly better. And I said this at the beginning of the show. Let's just say that they picked Miley Cyrus to do the halftime show. Ain't nobody tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, we understand what that is. But the fact that you picked another rapper and you didn't pick this rapper, that looks weird. I don't think it's the better decision. I think from a legend standpoint and from a tenure standpoint and even from a catalog standpoint, Wayne is the better choice to do a Super Bowl halftime show, even if that shit is in Antarctica, man. It is what it is. I think that he is the better choice. Mike, to be honest, I mean, Kendrick's hot right now because of the Drake shit. Let's just be real.
Now, I sort of agree there should be a Louisiana artist there, and who other than a big artist such as Wayne. This is not deflecting off the topic that I'm saying that I'm not saying Wayne doesn't deserve that or whatever, but let's look at the facts around the matter, right? When we had Eminem, Dr. Dre, and all of them perform, it was bigger than LA. I couldn't imagine you doing that in LA at that time and not having that type of show, right? But if we talk about who was beforehand, it was The Weeknd. The Weeknd had a hot year. The Weeknd had a hot, he was hot. When we talk about Usher, people say, "Oh, well, Usher didn't release music in like 8 years." Did Usher not have a booming residency in Las Vegas that everybody was talking about?
Yeah,
right.
And that had a lot to do with it, you know. And he has a great catalog, but you gotta have catalog to do those type of things.
So moving forward, right? Fast forward. Now, when we're talking about the situation with Kendrick over Wayne, and we're talking about the more of the draw. Now, culturally, it would be nice to have a Louisiana artist, none other than most likely Wayne being the biggest from there, being on that stage in some sort of capacity, right? But we also have to look at Kendrick right now of having a monstrous year. And I hate the fact that people are saying, "Oh, if it wasn't for Drake, then Kendrick wouldn't have this." Drake baited a nigga into a beef and lost. So we can't move the goalposts because now the guy that wins is capitalizing. We can't do it.
Did he bait him? Or
yes, he did bait him. He baited him and he got what he asked for and then some. And so let's look at the facts of the matter here.
Hold on. How did he bait him? Where did this whole thing start?
The subs, the beef tracks, even when they released the stuff and he came back with that album calling them out, we haven't heard from you, like doubling up on that. And then what Kendrick do? Go and drop a 2-piece on his ass. So that's all him underestimating. I don't even want to get back to that conversation. Fact of the matter is Kendrick won that beef, right? Do a monster pop-up show, right? This is his year. He arguably has the best record on hip-hop radio stations right now that's still getting rotation to this very day. It's the hottest song in hip-hop. Who had a bigger hip-hop song this year than Kendrick?
Nobody.
Okay, and so let's stick to.
But why is this song that big though? Let's keep it real.
You said what now?
Why is this song that big though? Because of who it's about.
Yes, but what does that mean though? Because we can't move the goalposts. We can't move the goalposts because when Drake had the song that he had back to back for Meek, nobody was caping. Oh man, he's only big because this was about Meek. Because Meek was fire at that moment. So let's not do it because Drake is on the losing side of that, man.
I think it's a little different, though. I think the back-to-back was more so big because we didn't expect Drake to be able to respond in a battle sense in that way. Like, that was like the first time we saw him. Also got to look at. And I think because of where Meek comes from a battle arena, I think that had a lot to do with how back-to-back, was received. But I don't feel like Drake leaned on back-to-back to the point where he made his next wave all about it. He made back-to-back and moved on and came with more records.
Man, look what I'm saying. Like this beef between Drake and Kendrick, it's only been so long removed from there, right? We know we're gonna get a Kendrick album. It's the perfect storm. You do what you did this year, you do the Super Bowl, you release your album. Whatever, right on to the sunset on what you want to do. It's perfect, man. It's perfect. When you think about Wayne's draw, yes, we have seen artists that come and do the Super Bowl and perform classics that they had of the past. But is Wayne relevant right now? He's gonna be relevant as a GOAT and a legend of hip hop. But what is the last relevant Wayne record, man?
That's not cool. And I think that's all. But see, that's the same thing of me saying, like, oh, what's the last relevant Dr. Dre record? You know what I'm saying?
If you want
to stop them from getting on the stage. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything, that's all the more reason to give them their flowers and give them the stage so they could be celebrated for the music that they have made and the cultural impact that they have made, and us not being so short-sighted about what's right in front of us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need to see if Not Like Us is going to be around in a few years. We know those records that Wayne made have been around for a long time, and they should be celebrated
for years as well, man. So for people saying this is like trying to make it seem like Drake, like Kendrick is not deserving, bro. And like, you know what it is? With all these people speaking out and all this outrage and all this shit that's going on, and being that Wayne himself hasn't spoken up, we really have to think about it here. If Jay really was so self-serving as people like him to be, why hasn't he got on that stage himself? He said it himself. He's not going to do that. Right? If he's so self-serving, what has he done less than making sure he's putting on a show that the masses are going to like? If he was so self-serving, think about how many other people he could have put on that stage from the people he has put on that stage.
Well, there's a few things there. Maybe he doesn't feel that he has the records that would translate to that audience, which I would disagree with. Maybe it just hadn't been the right opportunity as well. When we think about where these halftime shows have been located, and maybe it just hasn't been the right opportunity. I think he should get on that stage. I think that he should rock that stage, but you know, Jay might be more comfortable with putting it together as opposed to having to be, you know, the entertainment, because there's a joy in being able to produce as opposed to jumping on stage as well. Oh, Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, every time I think that this is slowing down, something else happens. For never being on the internet, Dot is still somehow always on the internet. Yes, he is. He's a very viral individual.
So when I'm just looking at culturally, yes, Wayne or another Louisiana artist should be on that stage. And that wasn't even, it hasn't even been said that there's not going to even be any special guests. They just announced that Kendrick is the headlining it, and there's an uproar because people see is not Wayne as the headliner. Who knows? All this stuff people speaking about and all that stuff, they're probably ruining a possible relationship for this to be bigger than what it is, because niggas are not satisfied. Niggas is always going to complain, bro. Like, there's a business sense to this, bro.
If Wayne was announced as the headliner, Siobhan, nobody would have complained.
Do you think it would have been a bigger draw?
Just like when Dre and Snoop were announced in LA, nobody complained. It was the right decision to make.
If we look at now, and just because it's in New Orleans, and I'm just gonna be totally honest with you, and we're looking at the culture, and we're looking at everything just in totality. Do you think right now there would have been more excitement for a Wayne performing at the Super Bowl in New Orleans or a Kendrick performing at the Super Bowl?
A Wayne, for sure.
Okay.
I think Wayne has generational fans. I think that even though people say that Wayne is not relevant right now, I think people would be excited to see Wayne get his flowers and see Wayne actually return to some sort of form, and to know that how involved Wayne currently is in sports, how connected he is with the whole Fox Sports thing, even though, you know, him and Skip ain't on that show anymore. But still, I think that how close Wayne has gotten to the athletes throughout that process, right? Like, I think that the overall excitement and the levels of generational fans that Wayne has and the iconic songs and moments that he has, I think would supersede this hot moment that Kendrick's having. I don't know single wise what type of catalog Kendrick has for that stage. I think Kendrick has a great album catalog. It's funny, man, and maybe I'm nitpicking here. I was listening to Outkast. I forgot what album the other day. I might have been listening to Nicki Minaj. But I know Outkast was incredible at making albums, and it made me think, does the process of the way that Outkast made albums, how does that translate in the streaming era, right? Like, they were album makers. Like, you go buy the CD, you put that CD in, you let that thing ride out. It's not about skipping around. It's not about skipping to a whole nother artist or anything like that. And Kendrick kind of makes music in that flow. Whereas Wayne makes music that's more suited for the listener of the digital era that skips around. You said it yourself on one of these other shows. He made massive amounts of music. He impacted the way that the process is done in this era. And I think that the way that he made music translates better to this era than Kendrick does, because he's a great album maker, but I don't know if he has those individual songs and bangers that's going to translate to that Super Bowl audience on the stage.
What are you saying, Mike? K-Dot just had one of the largest grossing concerts.
Yeah.
Or just globally, period, bro. Did he not?
I think these people want to see him do the whole album, but I don't think that Super Bowl halftime audience wants to see.
You think Dot is just going up there and performing just one album? Let's be serious, Mike.
I mean, we've seen the performance. I mean, he did stuff like Element, which I love.
I'm talking about his tour that he was doing, bro. Wayne's been doing tours or whatever. Is he grossing the same amount? Even him as Wayne as a legend. And this is not an indictment or a knock on Wayne, because I still think Wayne is one of my favorites, bro. But is he grossing the same numbers as K-Dot in concert? Right? No. Have you not seen Wayne performing lately? Have you not seen how he looks on stage?
Oh man, we go.
Have you not? And do you think that's Super Bowl ready?
You don't think that Wayne is performance-wise Super Bowl ready? I will give Kendrick this. He's a great performer and a great performer right now. Do you not think, though, that it's a bit overkill, the fact that Kendrick was just on that stage like 2 years ago?
He was a guest. Hold up, 2 years ago as a stage on what?
In LA. When was that? Like,
look, man. Have you not seen Wayne perform? Wayne could barely remember his lyrics on stage.
Oh man.
And like I said, and I hate that this sounds like a knock against Wayne
or he not
or anything like that. I do think he deserves to be on that stage, man. But as a headliner, no, bro. No,
I disagree. I vehemently
not over Kendrick right now. I'm not gonna say not as a headliner. Let me not say that. But over Kendrick right now, no. I think Kendrick has a bigger draw than Wayne right now.
Kendrick better kill this halftime show.
I don't think he's gonna do anything less but to kill it. We know he has he's a great showman. We know that. He's proven that on his pop-up. He's proven that with having the grocery tour that he has. Like, he's proven that he knows how to hold the stage down. And this, to me, like, I feel like the gripes and the people coming out and they're saying what they're saying, those are just underlying people that already hate Jay in whatever capacity they want to, and this is just more fuel to the fire for them to say what they say.
I think they made the wrong decision.
So it is what it is. But when I'm looking at what sounds like when it's the biggest draw, and I'm looking at both of them, I'm thinking right now Kendrick is the bigger draw as a headliner, and I'm just saying that as a headliner, bro, right now. And I'm just going based off Kendrick last runs, when he did with his tour, what he's done in the last year compared to what Wayne has done recently in his performance and his showmanship and stuff like that, man. And like,
you want to go to the numbers though, Siobhan. Drake outdid his tour, so
but we're not talking about Drake at the Super Bowl. We're talking about Wayne. That's irrelevant to us talking about Wayne.
Okay. Not CJ Kid, TJ with the super chat says, it sucks because Wayne is caught in the crossfire of Jay versus Birdman and Jay versus Nicki. Her fans been calling Jay a pedo since Roc may been popping up with Roc may been popping up with Megan. All right, let's see. I got another super chat down here. Shout out to everybody in the room, man. Thumbs up in the chat, everybody. Shoot, where we at? Scrolling down. All right, Jay Short with the super chat says, honestly, I don't think that this is gonna halftime. Maybe I'm old, but I would have rather have seen Nelly, 50 Cent, or LL CoolJ. They have proven hits. They can move the crowd in any demographic. Now, what songs do you think Kendrick should do? What 5 songs, if you're putting together Kendrick's Super Bowl halftime show, what 4 or 5 songs do Kendrick need to do?
For me, when I look at Kendrick, I feel like he's very calculated on what he does when he wants to send a message. So I can't even say it could be one of my personal favorites, bro. I think it's just really about what vibe and what he wants to convey at that time, especially if it's going off a theme or what he wants to do for his next album. So I really can't call it, man, because he has stuff that goes over, that crosses over. I mean, he had stadium music off Damn, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it just really depends, man. I really can't call it. It's always a message that I feel that he sends in his performances. So I don't know. Like, can he do something for the culture and do a song like All Right? Yeah, possibly. Can he do DNA? Yeah. Can he do Be Humble? Yeah. Can he, like, there's stuff off Good Kid, Mad City he could do. Like, I don't know what his vibe and what he's gonna be. And I think that's what makes this exciting for me, because I want to see what he's really gonna do. I want to see what message he want to get off on that stage. I really want to see what is his point and what's his statement going to be behind the performance when it's on that global stage, because it reminds me of when I seen him perform at the Grammys or and stuff like that, and his performances he did. It seems like he always sends some type of message or something. So it's I think that's what makes it exciting, is I can't predict it, bro. So I really can't give that to you.
Do you think that he could perform? Do you think that he could perform the Super Bowl halftime show without doing Not Like Us?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when I think about a general consensus and broader outside of just the black fan base, he doesn't have to do that record. But for the culture, yeah, he could do it. It'll be what you can't come back from that if you're Drake. Like, you can't. But I think it's bigger than that, bro. I think it goes from what niggas want to see. I think it's bigger. He really could get on that stage and don't want to do it. I know a lot of people may want to see that, but he doesn't have to do that.
He's gonna do it.
I mean, if he does, cool. But what I'm gonna say is he doesn't have to. That's all I'm saying. What people want to hear, yes.
He kind of solidified it for me. I mean, he's in front of the American flag and all that. And I know I've gotten on this show before and kind of, lightheartedly said, like, who is us? Like, Kendrick never explains anything. Like, Kendrick, he raps and he'll leave everything open for interpretation. Like, it's us, LA, it's us, black folks, it's us, the United States. And I think it's solidified. Us is the United States. He put out the video for the song on July 4th. He's sitting in front of the American flag now. And I think when we talk about Not Like Us, and then you had the Olympic team who was out there, at the Olympics talking about they not like us, and us is the United States. I think it's pretty much solidified now. And I think he's branding it in that way. But I don't think he'll ever really verbalize it, because for the people who want it to mean something else, he'll allow them to think that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I like that it's something that you really can't predict right now. And I'm looking forward to see what he's gonna do and what he's gonna put into the performance and the songs he's gonna choose. It's just like when I was like trying to get an idea of what Usher was gonna do on that Super Bowl stage, because we have seen Usher tap into doing borderline, the EDM. He got into his pop bag, and then he has his R&B. And I felt like he did a perfect job at doing a mesh of all three on that stage.
He really did. He did an incredible job.
We were all trying to figure out, is he gonna perform stuff? Because like I said, as black people, we have the stuff we want to hear, but the Super Bowl is bigger than just black people, man. it's a big thing, man. It's global, bro, and it's all across the country, and you have to convey to people that's just not looking like us. But I feel like it's
has those records though. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm short sighted here, but you talk about those crossover records. He doesn't have a million or anything like that. Like, I don't think that he would stand a chance in a versus against Wayne. I know
who
Kendrick.
He doesn't have the body of work as Wayne.
Exactly.
He also hasn't been rapping. He also hasn't been in the game as long as Wayne either. Neither has a lot of artists.
Exactly why he shouldn't be on the stage over Wayne either.
But that's not saying through that whole span of time that Wayne just had amazing music. We had this conversation when we were talking about why I thought Wayne was like a great artist, and me and you both agreed that Wayne really didn't start making noise to the Carter One.
Fact.
So it's great to have the longevity. It's great to have the hits, but when we knock out all of mixtape Wayne and all the features he had, when we're talking about just him as an artist and the hits, most of those hits came off the Carter 3 that expanded globally. And from there, people, but culturally, Wayne has always been something to us. But like I said, when you get on that Super Bowl stage, it's not about just us. It's a bigger fan base, bro. It's a bigger audience you have to reach. And if you're asking me, do Kendrick has that music? I'm gonna tell you yes. You know why? Because some of those Kendrick songs are played on the NBA Finals. Some of those are played at football games. So there's not a question of if that stuff translates, because it has, and it does. Does Wayne have some of that stuff that translates? Yes. So, like I said, I don't want to make it seem like it's a knock on Wayne's catalog or if it's a knock on what he could bring to the Super Bowl. I believe if he was presented with the opportunity, it still would have been big. And I still feel like there's Louisiana artists that should be involved, or at least something from the New Orleans culture that should be incorporated with this show. Because New Orleans has one of the big. I've personally been to New Orleans, and I feel like I'm sorry.
I said, I love New Orleans.
Yeah, I feel like the culture there is very rich in the country. So I believe there has to be something to that nature that's there, man. But
and I think that's why people in Louisiana and the South are taking this in that way, because I think New Orleans is one of our most culturally rich cities. It's a very unique city, all the way down to the dialect, all the way down to just the bounce music, all of that stuff. And everywhere you go, or everywhere we have an NFL Super Bowl, you don't have those cultural pieces and those opportunities to take advantage of cultural icons that are from the soil of that city. And there was a opportunity here, and I think it was, for whatever reason, missed.
Yeah, but I just also like to say this. They just announced KDOT, man. That's just one announcement, and people was already up in arms about it. I'm like, man, let stuff materialize. Super Bowl is February 2025, man. Who goes to say that Kendrick's the only one that's going to hold that stage down? Niggas be quick to speak out and say all this stuff, and sometimes they end up putting their foot in their mouth. So, like I said,
he's the headliner. It is what it is. He's the headliner.
Yeah, cool. He's the headliner. Like I said, it goes back to my point of saying, like, yeah, they had it in Atlanta. Big Boy wasn't the headliner. No other Atlanta artist was a headliner. We had other places where stuff took place. The Super Bowl was just in New York in 2014. What New York artists did they have performed? And I know you're saying, oh, well, Jay wasn't there, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter, bro. Like, it never started becoming a thing of the culture resonating with the NFL and stuff until Jay was put in this position to do it, because we know the NFL has always missed the mark.
All right, let me ask you this. So Jennifer Lopez and Shakira did it together in Miami, the Super Bowl halftime performance.
Neither of them are from Miami either.
Neither one of them are from Miami, but that was about, a Latin splash and all that. We get that. And I forgot who else came out. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. But anyway, I think this looks different if they say, you know what, we're going to have Wayne and Kendrick co-headline this thing. But see, I think the conflict there is this nigga Kendrick's going all in on Drake. I think what happens is somebody was forced to pick between the two. For whatever reason, they picked Kendrick. Is that fair to say?
I mean, I think it possibly is, but I just think it was just a good look to have Kendrick on there, man. I really do. Like I said, I would love to see other New Orleans or Louisiana artists on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that would be a good look. And hell, they haven't even said that was going to be. It could be all kind of surprises that happen. But the fact of the matter is, Kendrick is the headliner. I do want to see stuff as far as relative to the culture, but like I said, man, people are all ups in arms very early off just one announcement, man. I think people are gonna be having a foot in their mouth when it's all said and done. Because one thing I know Jay knows is a little bit about the culture when it comes to the halftime show. I mean, he has a wife that has New Orleans roots, man. You think Jay is really gonna miss the mark on something as big as that? I don't think so. I think people need to let stuff play out, because like I said, people are gonna speak out so soon and don't even know what's gonna materialize over time, man. And I really think it's a sense of entitlement.
I don't know. I think that, I mean, we were told to let it play out when Jay assumed this role over over there in Dillon.
It goes back to my point. Has he missed anybody he had as the halftime show?
I don't think people were too pleased about that weekend, or Jennifer Lopez and
numbers say differently.
Yeah, we get that. You know what I'm saying? The numbers are what they are. I don't know, man. We'll see the numbers that Kendrick does. He's probably going to do numbers. It's Kendrick. This is what Jay had to say, though. He says, Kendrick is truly a once-in-a-generational artist and performer. He has unparalleled ability to define and influence culture globally. His work transcends music, and his impact will be felt for years to come. Doesn't sound like Jay-Z said that, but whatever. We'll see. I mean, listen, I don't think I would like to see Jay say something, man.
Like I said, as a 50-something-year-old Jay in the business sense and the stuff that he's done, I don't think this has anything personally to do with some hip-hop shit. I don't really think it's like on some hip-hop, I have an issue with Birdman, stuff like that. If people thinking that's really how Jay and his business mind works when it comes to this, they're sadly mistaken, bro. That's small-minded thinking. I really do think that it has nothing to do with anything personal, and it has everything to do with just what's going on and what's relevant and what's popping and who's hot. Like I said, we've named X amount of artists from this last Super Bowl thing that had something relevant that was going on in their career and that was bubbling around them as far as being hot.
I feel you, but when people who know the individual say that it is personal, and they have they have situations, Cam and Mace, they have situations that they
Cam and Mace not slight Jay every once in a while.
I mean, huh?
Does Cam and Mace not slight Jay every once in a while? How can they say their example didn't even make sense? Because they
say, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and I love Cam and Mace stuff. And like I said, man,
I think Cam and Mace said something about the fact that, he stopped them, their appearance or whatever from Fanatics or some shit like that, and when people have a history of making sure certain people don't get on the stage and do certain things behind the scenes politically, then when situations like this come about, are they wrong when it doesn't make sense in the face of people who know?
See, this conversation was a conversation I wanted to have, but I know how it was going to look from me being a Jay fan, because there's so much ridiculous shit being thrown out there. I just got to defend the ridiculousness of it. Go against the ridiculousness of it, because the stuff that I'm hearing, the commentary around it just sounds dumb, man. It really does, Mike. Like the idea of, it's a beef with Birdman and Wayne, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what, bro? Like, do you think if Jay really want to stop something from happening, you think it's going to be a Super Bowl that nobody gets paid for? They don't get paid to perform at the Super Bowl, so he can't be stopping the bag.
Roc Nation gets paid to a certain extent. I mean, I know what you mean.
Bro.
I know what you mean.
They get paid off they streaming going up, them boosting up their numbers to perform later on the back end stuff that comes along with it. But I'm like, come on, bro. Like, I don't think Wayne. I don't think Jay is looking at this from a hip hop standpoint of it. I think that's really small when it comes down to the
look. I just don't think. I know people are gonna say I'm being a Kendrick hater. I think Kendrick's a dope artist. I think he's a great album maker, but I don't know if he has like those slam dunk crossover records that you're talking about that a Super Bowl audience is going to, gravitate to like that. DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says they already announced Kendrick is going to be the first rapper to solo headline the Super Bowl. Yeah. That's what we're talking about. DJ Bruce Almighty also says Jay just paid Wayne's taxes and made sure that he was okay when Birdman was messing him over. Cam also said when him and Jay was beefing, Jay always signed off. Well, like I said earlier in the show, and again, I mean, those are personal situations with individuals. I mean, we don't know if certain people do certain things to look a certain way so that if they do something the other way, we can always point back to this. We don't know that either. But, again, we can keep going with that. And I think when it comes to the Birdman thing with Jay was trying to sign Wayne. That's what that was.
Yeah, but who when that situation, if we even look at
that, just out of the kindness of his heart.
Yeah, but if we look at Birdman, his relationship with Wayne throughout the years and anything that Jay has done for Wayne in these years, who has treated Wayne better? Let's be honest here. Birdman's also the reason why Wayne's relevance started to deteriorate through a little bit of time. We're not allowing him to release that album. Let's be honest here, man.
Let's get Leroy in the room too, man, because you and Leroy are big time Jay fans, as I am as well. But y'all defend anything that Jay does to the death.
That's why I want the narrative to be, man, because I don't think it has anything to do with just like me defending Jay. It's just like some things are just kind of like common sense, bro, man. It's just like, come on, man. I think it was just a bigger business sense, and it made better sense for the representation of hip hop at this moment for that show, man.
Like if you were telling me that, you know what, Drake got it over Wayne or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because Drake got hit. It is what it is. I'd be like, okay, I get that. Even if we talking about Eminem, you know how I feel about Eminem and his catalog. I mean, he does have the records that will resonate with that crossover crowd like that. He could do that. I just don't think I think Kendrick's a great performer. I think Kendrick has a great catalog. But I don't know if he has a Super Bowl catalog because, again, when they announced that he was going to be one of the people on that Dre show, I was like, well, there's only one song he could do, and he did that song. Like, it was very predictable because he's not going to do swimming pools and stuff like that. Like, I mean, he could, but I don't think that audience really resonates with those individual records. Jay Short with the Super Chat says, Dre is trying to show the NFL how much money he can make them so that he can be a minority owner again. There's the funny part is that this is going to be when Roger Goodell and those folks made Jay take the stage. I think that's a good point. And you're right. At the end of the day, just like, with Jay Steak and Rockefeller and the way he approached making hit records and, changing up his style to sell records, he had a job to do as a partner in Rockefeller. He had a job to sell records. His job wasn't to go out there and make critically acclaimed albums. That don't make the company no money. So, yes, if this is like a move to say, you know what, I think that Kendrick's going to make this situation more money and more capital, and that's why I'm making that decision over Wayne, that makes sense.
I got a question. What up, man?
What's up? What's good, my guy?
What's good, guys?
Good. I got a question. Would this be made a bigger deal if it wasn't Kendrick that was named as a performer? If it would have been anybody else except for Wayne, would people still?
I think anybody else in rap. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, yes, the Kendrick dynamic with what's going on with Drake right now and Drake and the Wayne dynamic, I think that does add fuel to the fire. But if this was LL CoolJ or something, I don't think it would be that much of a stink at all. DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says, nah, Mike, Jay tried to sign Wayne like 10 years ago. The tax thing was recent. Plus, Jay is never the one who tells the stories. He's always others. We also got another super chat. DJ Bruce Almighty says 20 years ago. LOL. But I was talking about the Birdman thing, though.
I think I think whoever you put up there in hip hop is a win for hip hop, man. That's number one. I think, and people are taking away from that anybody that's a rapper or whatever, you put them on that Super Bowl stage, it's a win for hip hop. I also believe that, like I said, we complain more about Jay and his decisions in the halftime show than they ever complained about any Super Bowl beforehand in the performances, man. And it's just crazy, man. It's just like, why do we have the sense of entitlement, sense of like whatever when it's a black man that's running a shot there that go against what the whatever opinion is? I just don't understand that, man.
Because Siobhan, he said he's doing this for us. You know what I'm saying?
But
like
how
that
is Kendrick there not for us?
That was the pitch.
Kendrick is not for us now. Like Kendrick is the guy that's not for us. Like damn. Like okay, so
3 months. Kendrick performing. Come on.
Kendrick is the guy we have.
Leroy.
Yeah.
Leroy, your signal's janky right now. What's going on? You want to hang up and come back? I can't hear you.
All right, give me 1 second. Hold on.
Yeah, I just really think that like right now, culturally, hip hop wise, Kendrick is the better choice as a headliner. Like I said, I would like to see the New Orleans culture. I would like to see a New Orleans artist or a Louisiana artist get on that stage. Hell, I would even love for Wayne to get on that stage. And that's the thing that kind of hurts this too, because Wayne and Kendrick has always had a good relationship. But I feel like the thing that kind of hurts this is the Drake and Kendrick beef. I think this would have been a better co-headline situation if that never happened, because it's gonna look some type of way if there was a situation if you shared that stage with Wayne or vice versa. But I just really think that people gotta stop reacting first. Yeah, I feel like there's a plan in motion with this, and I feel like it's not only big for the culture, and I think it's gonna be big for hip hop.
I can agree, but I do think it was a missed opportunity.
Let me try again, man.
What did you think about the CoolJ album?
I like that.
Am I good now?
Yeah. You're better now.
My whole thing is this. I get it.
What were your thoughts?
We're having an issue with Jay and Kendrick of all people. Like, we got to pick better people to have issues with. Like, how is hip hop always upset with Jay and Kendrick? Like, people that obviously have paid their dues, obviously have checked all the boxes, obviously has represented us many of times. How are we going to be mad at them? Like, how? We saw the summer that Kendrick had. We was all rooting him on when he beat up Drake. So I thought we was happy about that. What's going on?
Well, I think, again, it's not on the individuals, right? Like, it doesn't really matter, at least to me, who the players are. I think that this isn't a personal thing at Kendrick or Jay. This is the fact that Lil Wayne was the right decision, and Jay-Z was the person making that decision and didn't make that decision, and Kendrick was the person who received that. And to me, I mean, again, he had a hot summer, I guess. We're talking about one record, about one dude, but I don't think one record should warrant you a Super Bowl halftime show.
I mean, a long time. I mean, no, Wayne been outside a long time. If you guys was going to fight for Wayne at the Super Bowl, how many years did y'all have to set that up or fight for that? You've had a long
time. This year. We got it this year. We got Jay-Z. And Jay-Z is the guy who cares about Wayne enough to help him in his Birdman situation and help him in his tax situation based on what you guys say, right? And he understands what Wayne means to New Orleans, Louisiana, and Jay-Z is in a position to actually put Lil Wayne on that Super Bowl stage and didn't do it. That's just what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? And if it was a money decision based on the analytics or however you want to slice it, cool, say that. But it's still a cultural moment missed for Louisiana, and it's a slap in the face, as Boosie said, to Louisiana culturally.
I mean, Louisiana culturally, Lil Wayne has been holding y'all down for like 20 years. Y'all been doing the Cash Money thing for like 20 something years. Is there anybody else y'all got that's hot? Respectfully.
It's not about just hot. I think Wayne is probably the biggest rapper in the South, period. It's not just New Orleans. Like, we talk about who's the biggest rap artist in the South, period. And if we talk about who's one of the 5 to 10 biggest rappers ever, Wayne's in that conversation. So it's not like trying to find the biggest rapper in New Orleans.
Why y'all not making a fuss for Master P? Ain't Master P from down there too?
Why
y'all not? He's not wrong. And I love Master P.
Showing some capacity, doesn't he?
Y'all fighting for Master P, but you fighting for Wayne. I don't know, man.
Listen, I love P, but if we want to talk about just crossover success and checking all the boxes and being an iconic figure that has influenced the current generation that we have, and who signed a Nicki, a Drake. I mean, Wayne is. I think he's a better fit than Master P, and I love Master P. Master P was one of those who actually set the foundation for Cash Money to fly in the way that it did. But Lil Wayne carried the torch. Lil Wayne is honestly, man. Lil Wayne's the Michael Jackson of Louisiana, man. He was a kid who grew up to be bigger than what he was as a kid.
I love no hate for Wayne, but I think when Kendrick hits that stage, y'all are gonna understand that Jay made a good decision, or whoever. Like, when Kendrick hits the stage, it's gonna be a different story. Like every time he's done shown y'all for the last 10 years now. Like, I don't know how many times this man got to show improve. People be like, why are you such a Jay fan? Because he showed improve so many times that I shouldn't even have to explain Jay-Z anymore. Like, y'all should already just know, because you lived it. You bought the albums. You went to the movies and watched the films. I shouldn't even have to explain. Like, you know?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like certain people, when we talk about Jay or Kendrick, like, we all witness their impact. Like, so it shouldn't be like you want to a further explanation as to why they are who they are. As far as like the whole like what Jay should do or shouldn't do, the reality is nobody would do anything if we had an alternative to Jay. We would just say, well, let's do nothing and see if nothing works. That would be the response, because nobody's going up there to challenge the NFL on nothing. You're not going to fight for no black artists, period, to do nothing. So if Jay wants to do that role, just have him do it. But it would be different if he was picking somebody whack. Let me put somebody whack up there just to do it. But he's not doing that. He picked Kendrick Lamar. Like, the last time it was Dr. Dre, Snoop. Like, what are we talking about?
You know? We're talking about the fact that he missed a cultural moment with one of the biggest icons in hip hop history.
Wayne should pull up. If Wayne pulls up and be like, "Hey, I want to hit that stage," I'm sure K-Dot would be like, "Get your bars off." Go ahead.
You shouldn't have to. Really, at the end of the day, guys, this should be a situation where Wayne opens up the stage to K-Dot to do his thing, as opposed to the opposite. Jay Shore with the super chat says, question for you, Mike. Do you think that Jay had more to say in the NFL boardroom or the Brooklyn Nets boardroom? And no, Leroy, you don't have to explain Jay to us. We know exactly what this is, right?
You don't know, though, because you don't know, because you assume that everything Jay does must be a nefarious, evil act. What you don't know is...
Why do you think people feel that way, though, Leroy?
Because his success makes people uncomfortable.
No one cares about it. No, I disagree with that. Because at the end of the day, I disagree with that. I think that's a cop out.
There's never
been any grimy moves.
I've been a Jay fan 20 years. I know for a fact his success makes people uncomfortable. Because every time
why do you think his success makes people uncomfortable in ways that other people's success doesn't make them uncomfortable?
Because people will not allow you to make that your argument for Jay is based on music and lyricism. They'll say that's impossible. You have to like him only because he has money. Now, I don't know why people think that's a good argument, But it's like they honestly believe that. They honestly believe the only reason why Jay has fans is because they just like the fact he has money.
You
No.
didn't answer my question though. Why do you feel like people think that? Why do you feel like
The reason why
his success makes people uncomfortable in ways that Oprah's success doesn't make people uncomfortable.
Oprah's success makes people uncomfortable. Drake's success makes people uncomfortable. That's why they're rooting for Drake's downfall. Drake, let's take him down, take him down. His success makes y'all uncomfortable. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Not us, but if there's some hate is just not warranted. I can see if somebody does some goofy shit or makes us look terrible, but some people didn't even do nothing and they get in all kind of hate. So it's like, what did they do to y'all? What did Drake do to you?
I think this is my problem, and I think that my problem is you guys. I mean, not you, Siobhan, but what you're saying right now, Leroy. It's like you can't even fathom the fact that maybe Jay did make the wrong decision here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so it's dismissive to the people who feel like Wayne should be the headliner of this halftime show. And, you know, because it's Jay who actually made this decision, then, okay, people are just hating on Jay.
But even with the people argument, if we say something is wrong, I could show you where your own support of this artist put them in position. I could use Kendrick. I could use Jay. I could say, well, if y'all don't like Jay so much, why did you support his career so much? You should have let him. You should have let him fall off. You should have not bought.
If you like the music, you like the music. You know what I'm saying? Like,
why did you buy Jay's albums? It doesn't make sense. Why do y'all listen to K Dot? It don't make sense. If he's not the right person, y'all shouldn't be listening to Not Like Us. Y'all shouldn't have been listening to this battle. It don't make sense. You can't have it both ways.
I think you kind of can, right? It's like, not saying that K Dot's not a talented artist, not a dope artist, but we haven't really seen an artist that makes the type of music that he makes be so big, if you will, right? Like, he doesn't really make stadium music like that. Like, he doesn't. But somehow he gets stadium opportunities. He's an album making MC, and he's a great MC at it. He's a great lyricist and all of those things. But most of the MCs who make the type of music he makes doesn't get on the stages that he gets on. And to say that we don't like him in a sense where it's like, okay, if you feel like he shouldn't be on that stage, why are you listening to him? Like, I don't feel like, let's just say, I don't know if it would service somebody like a Raekwon to be on that stage, because I don't know if the masses would appreciate the music that Raekwon has made in his career. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like Method Man said with the Summer Jam thing.
Here's
some audiences just don't get where you're at, and I feel like, you know, he might be one of those.
Here's what I got. Hey, Leroy, before you go, I just need to get on here for 5 seconds. I want to say three things real quick before I go. I got 3 things I want to say before I go. I just want to jump in. I agree with Mike. I do think that Kendrick is a great performer. I just don't think he has the songs to match the Super Bowl stage. I think Lil Wayne, there's been talk about him being on the Super Bowl in New Orleans. They should have given him that as a legacy act. I see a lot of folks in the chat saying that Wayne is washed, but that's part of what the Super Bowl performances are. They're legacy performances to honor our greats. I think Wayne should have been afforded an opportunity. And let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it real. Mike asked this question earlier. We got 25 joints versus 25 joints. Wayne is Dustin Kendrick, and we all know that. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it real.
I don't know that.
I just don't think that's a fair matchup, man, because the longevity is not there. The albums, not the body of music is not there as far as how many projects has been put out, mixtapes, all of that. I don't think that's a great argument to make when you don't have a person that's had a career that has been that long with a span as many bodies of work. So I think that's like if you put Wayne against a lot of artists of this time, there's nobody that could really match that.
But let's take with Siobhan. Let's take it from 2005 to 2014 or 2000.
But people don't.
Let's just take the time. Let's take 2010. Let's take 2010. That span of time to 2015. Let's take 15 years from Wayne and 15 years from Dot. Wayne was still, if you take 25 songs from those periods, Wayne was still lap.
Yeah, but that's a no-brainer, man. Like, because like I said, there's a lot of factors to that. But like when you're talking about a Wayne catalog versus anybody else's catalog, there's not many people that could hold up to that. So and if we relate that to the Super Bowl, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with a global appeal. So when we're talking about a versus, when we're talking about on the stage of hip hop, yes, Wayne has a catalog that if you put him on the verses, I want to see him up there with the greats that's been in there in a long time, not anybody that came around in that 2012, 2013 thing, because I just don't think they have the body of work to go against it. That's not a knock to that artist. I just think that it's just has everything to do with how long an artist's been around and how much body of work they got to put around. I don't know a lot of people that as recorded as much music as Wayne throughout his career, man.
Another thing people are doing is now, you know, Jay has always been the sellout in people's mind, even though he owned his own company. But now Jay and Kendrick are the coons for the black people. Like, are y'all familiar with Jay and Kendrick? Do y'all know that putting that label?
That though, yeah, you go.
Just read the framing of the arguments in general. Jay-Z and Kendrick now are the coons of black folk. Like, do y'all know what y'all saying? Like, or implying? Like, do you think that the people up there are happy that Jay-Z and Kendrick exist out here? Like, really? I don't think they're that.
I don't know what they're happy and not happy about. I'm just looking at the results. You know what I'm
saying? For people that have power, to see other black dudes come up with power like that from the ghetto, I don't think they're happy about that at all.
They told me that says, Leroy, you are correct. People who become successful being shields does make us uncomfortable, but nobody hating on Ice Cube for his success or Master P, because we see them as authentic.
What are you talking about? They'll just shitting on Ice Cube like the other time for his presidential stance or something like that, just some years ago. So what are you talking about?
You know, those were agents coming at Cube.
Jay's partners were black men. He signed to a label with black men. He brought in artists that were black men, and then he kept moving artists that were black and put black artists on the stage at the halftime. All of a sudden, he's the coon. I just don't get it. Like, he came in with Biggs and Dame, two black men, then partnered with Russell, another black man. I mean, I could keep going. And we know in his music, just like Kendrick, if you think, now people say, well, Jay's music doesn't have messages. That's to you. People think, well, Kendrick's music is just for sellouts. That's to you. You're not listening to what Kendrick is saying or what Jay is saying. Not you, Mike, and Trevor, but just a lot of people making these arguments. The type of stuff that Kendrick is messaging in his music, y'all think the elite are happy with those messages? I highly doubt that. Like, highly.
I disagree.
His messages allude to a disenfranchisement of black people that they still rise above, and he's claiming a biblical status on top of that. Now we think we think things are harmless or don't mean anything. When those messages cross the color lines, they looking at him like he's crazy for even taking on that battle. Like, the country is under the control of the people. I mean, hey man,
I don't know if he's as much of a rebel as you're making him out to be. I mean, if it were like that, he wouldn't get these opportunities. He wouldn't continuously be on these stages. I think that he has a palatable level of activism, if you will, that, like I said, is not really, not ever really expound upon. He puts things out for interpretation. For the people who want to take his messages out, for the people who want to take his messages a certain way, they can take it that way. People who want to take it another way, they could take it that way. He never goes out there and really explicitly speaks about where his real stances are. Doesn't do interviews. He doesn't do social media. So all you get really is, just generalized things that you could take and interpret them in whatever artistic way you would like. So I don't know how rebellious that actually is, because historically, what rebels just, you know, left everything open for interpretation.
It's
Rebellion and rebels are clear about their message.
Kendrick had a crown of thorns on his head. The reason why he doesn't have to explain is because you already know the story. He calls himself an Israelite. The reason he doesn't explain is because you already know the story. So he would only be explaining something.
You? No, no.
Hey guys, let me moderate here and put a pin in it, man. Leroy, give me your final take.
Go ahead, Ron.
Give your final take real quick for Mike gives the super chat, so we can kind of segue to LL, and I will sign off. Let Servon and Mike rock on LL real quick. So, Leroy, what's your final thought for the night, bro?
You're getting me out of here now, Ron. I'm getting too deep on him, but I'm not even getting.
I'm getting out of here too. Go ahead.
Look, the reason Kendrick is not explaining his dispositions is because everyone already knows him. He's saying everything that everyone has read about, everyone has already lived. So he doesn't have to explain what you already lived and read about. Like, he makes biblical references because he knows you all have a Bible already and you read it already. So he don't have to explain what you already know. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I got a lot of thoughts on that. We'll chop it up on another time, man. But I appreciate you, Leroy. I'm gonna jump out of here too, man. So we're gonna segue to this LL album, man. Peace out, brother.
Peace.
Yo. All right. Jay Shaw with the super chat says the Democratic Party, the Brooklyn Nets, scram the NFL. Every time them folks need a black face to sell us something, Jay is always there. Just saying. So you listened to the LL album, right?
Yes, I thought it was dope. I really think he did his thing on it. I do have some like thoughts about it though. Not all bad. Okay. Not all bad. I there's some highlighted joints I like on there. The first one, that was my favorite record on there, was Passion. I think Passion was a dope record. I think that's a highlight of the album. I like The Force. I like 30 Decembers, and I like The Vow, which was the last record on the album.
Oh yeah, he killed.
Yeah, I think lyrically, LL's getting busy. Like, lyrically, he's getting busy. To still rap at that top tier at this point in your career and being away from it and everything, I think it was dope. I think the production from Q-Tip was great, but there's something about this album that still sounds experimental. It seems like there were certain records that clicked for LL with his vocals and his rhyming ability over, and there's some of them that just, it didn't seem like it meshed the same, you know. So the album still had an experimental feel, and then it had some stuff that's like, ooh, that sound good, like he's spitting. So I think they should do this in a series like Nas is doing with Hit Boy, and I would like to see what that happens over time and then working together consistently. And I also think if we condense this to like a 10 or 12 song album, track album, I think that'll hit better too. Like, let's just take all those top ones and condense them down to like a 10 track album. That'll probably be dope. But LL spitting, man, that's not taken away from his flows, him revisiting his old school flow on Postmodern. I thought that was dope.
I love Postmodern.
Yeah, I think his features though, man. I think he had misses on features, and the reason why I say that is not to do with like the rapping ability. I just think the songs weren't that good. Like Murdergram, I think he out-rapped M, which is a highlight of the album. He really did out-rap M, but I just don't think it's a good song. I like Nas verse on there with the song they got. I just don't think that's a good song. Both of them were spitting at a high level, but sonically, I don't think it's a good song. I think Busta got busy on a song he had with him. That's the better sounding out of those joints that I say. I feel like the joint with Sweetie was terrible. I feel like that's a skip. I understand him trying to mesh with the new school and giving them a chance and collaborating with them, but I feel like that song was just a poor song choice to include on the album. I also feel like the hooks wasn't that strong on the album. But then again, if you want to showcase your lyrical ability and stuff like that, I guess the hook's not that important. It's more so the music and the mesh with that. But I feel like the hooks definitely could have been stronger on the album. But overall, man, LL, he delivered and he showed that he still got it. And I would like to see what it will be if they work together again in the future consistently, because I think he proved to people that he could still spit at a high level.
I like praise him with Nas, but I do think that, you know, there is something to what you're saying as far as like, you know, what we're accustomed to when it comes to LL CoolJ and his hook game and things like that. Because I think that with this album, you could tell like it was those two guys that locked in. It didn't sound like, you know, like Lounging remix or something where you could tell like, you know, Total's involved. It's a whole piece of people coming through with these hooks and these ideas where a lot of the hooks were kind of just Q-Tip on there, right? Or, you know what I'm saying? Or just Q-Tip maybe referencing LL on there. I do like the fact that LL took on concepts that we never really saw him do things, you know, conceptually, like being able to personify another individual or another situation and, you know, talk about his upbringing. I mean, he's talked about that before, but lyrically, this just seemed a little bit more in depth than before. 30 Decembers, and, you know, just taking on topics like that. And like you said, on the Vow and the way he's spitting on there with some of the younger cats. I mean, it's a very impressive piece of work at this stage of his career. We talking about 40 years in.
Yeah, definitely. It's a solid album. I would like to see him work with Q-Tip more because I want to see how that song, like I said, when I heard Nas and Hit Boy on the album, then I seen that they were going to continue working together, and I start to see it starts to get better and better with them working together. I feel like there's certain producers that lock in with artists and they just get it right. I feel like this one is solid, but I don't feel like they mesh completely to get it like on that, you know, way it needs to be. But I think there's great potential that if they keep on doing records together like this, they could really keep on creating good bodies of work. But I feel like for him not to put out an album in X amount of time and we not knowing what to really expect from him album wise, and he delivered lyrically, I feel like it's a solid album. I wouldn't say
it's the best I've heard LL rap in a long time. Like,
yeah. I wouldn't say it's album of the year, but I feel like it's a great body of work. It's good for hip hop. I do agree. I do got this question for you though, Leroy. Like when you listen to this album, did you feel like at any point like some of it was experimental and sound like some of the songs didn't mesh like that?
Yeah, it did sound very experimental, and I was going to get to that. I really liked the experimentation of it all, right? I liked the fact that they took chances, and again, this is Q-Tip, so I expect Q-Tip to take chances. We haven't really seen LL take these kind of album-making chances. He might take chances with like a collaboration as far as like a single or things of that nature. But I do see this being in the album of the year conversation, along with Rhapsody, along with Pete Rock and Common. But it's something about this that, like you said, it's more exciting than those albums. And I think the excitement is something that even on a solid hip hop album or solid to really good hip hop album that we get in 2024, not a lot of people are taking these chances and making these exciting moments, like a postmodern type moment and things like that. And it's really refreshing to hear, and refreshing to hear from two veterans that really didn't try to dial back into like the old them, if you will, but did something progressive, but still were able to keep the integrity of what they do.
And you got a good point there. I'm gonna let you go ahead and get
No. I was just gonna say, I do think that from a beat making standpoint, some people could say, okay, well, I don't like this beat, I don't like that beat. But again, that goes back to the experimentation of it all. And yeah, I'm sure Q-Tip probably has some beats in his catalog or at his crib that sound more like the traditional Q-Tip that you would like to hear, but they're taking chances. And I like that. Some of those chances panned out, some of them not so much.
Yeah. I agree with you on the point of him keeping it kind of progressive and not trying to revisit like the past flows or the past ways of approaching music. Because I think that's where a lot of artists that disappeared for a long time are still trying to do music at a certain age. I think that's where they kind of mess up, is trying to capture a sound that was from back then. But I feel like LL did a perfect way of spitting over these beats and not trying to revisit a sound from then. There's times where he played with some of his old school flow, but lyrically, I feel like he's rapping at a high level. I do like the Q-Tip production, but there's some times, like I said, in the album, now I was like, man, the song could have been better if I had a stronger hook. But his rapping ability and the way he approached some songs, like it's a story, like telling of stories, whatever, I thought that was very good. I feel like my expectations of an LL album wasn't so high right now, and I feel like if I did have an expectation, he exceeded it. But I have no complaints. As far as it being a solid album, I would like to see him work with Q-Tip more, but I won't say it's album of the year, but I'll say it makes a pretty good case that I would like to hear him to keep on making music, because I feel like this is a really good album for him in this time in his career. And I feel like him being in his creative bag is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not bad that they're being experimental. I feel like that's the cool thing about hip hop. You do experiment, and if something don't hit, go back to the drawing board, get in the studio, and just keep on creating. And for this to be something I feel is, somewhat experimental or whatnot, this is something that actually turned out to be a solid body of work.
I agree, and I think you're on to something when you're talking about them actually making another effort together, because I remember when we first heard Nas and Hit Boy with King's Disease 1, like, this is dope. Like, I didn't know these guys were gonna, mesh together. I didn't know what that was gonna sound like. I actually, was against it, on the surface, and then it worked out. But the second time around, they clicked even better. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of those experiments went even better the second time around. So you're right. After listening to this album, I can only imagine what a second Q-Tip and LL CoolJ album would sound like. Now, granted, LL CoolJ is probably a very busy man, as Nas was too, but Nas is a writer. Like, he writes in volume. I don't know how quickly of a turnaround we can get from not just LL, but Q-Tip on a production end, which is, the fact that you can even get an album from Q-Tip is a miracle in itself. It's like getting an album from Dr. Dre. So asking for two of them, it's like, it might be too much, but theoretically, I agree. I feel like if they were to come with another one, it would be even better than this.
Another thing, I like the tone of the album as well. I feel like it had a very good tone. I feel like he didn't get out of his way and try to be too young, and it just like didn't go across well. I think the tone of the album is there. I think his perspective view of, like, when I say perspective, when you're listening to how he approaches it, is always from a different perspective of like how you would view a story. Even when you listen to like his verse on a Saturday Night Special, that's not my favorite song on the album, but the way he approached that verse and through the perspective lens of what he's talking about, I feel like he did that on a lot of joints, and that's what kind of makes this album dope over the Q-Tip beats. But I really, really wish the hooks were stronger.
Jay Short with the super chat says, I agree with you guys as we use 100%. As we use 100%. I really enjoy the album, and I would like to hear more. The pressure is really on DJ Premier now. I mean, it is, but again, I don't know if that album's gonna happen. I really think the pressure's on Dr. Dre now. Dr. Dre and Snoop haven't made an album in 30 years together. And we just saw what, Pete and Kama were able to cook up. And now LL and Q-Tip. So these are guys who are producers from a previous era and MCs that are from a previous era. And Dr. Dre is supposed to be the king of all of those. And Dr. Dre and Snoop, in my personal opinion, are the greatest rapper and producer combo ever. So that's where the pressure really lies.
But Mike, I gotta ask you this.
Yeah, sure.
is the pressure really on Dre? Because we've seen what he could do on the Marshall album. Even on the Marshall album, it's not a hip hop album, but he mixed a lot of those jazz infused 90s hip hop and R&B into one album to make that album with Marshall. And the production was great on that album. And I know it's not a hip hop record, but based off what you heard on that album, are you questioning his ability to lock in with a rap artist and replicate the same?
Well, it's not just a rap artist, it's Snoop, you know what I mean? And they got Doggy Style to contend with too, you know? And I think that the standard that they've set together is something that Dr. Dre has, I don't want to say ran from, but I think that's what made him very hesitant to work with Snoop again on a full album. Because, I mean, even with 2001, they needed Snoop's involvement for Still DRE, Next Episode. Important, and whenever they come together, it's a moment. I think that's what Andre 3000 struggles with too. Whenever he works with Big Boy, Outkast has a standard that Outkast has to uphold, and when Dr. Dre works with Snoop, there's a standard that those two guys specifically have to uphold that they don't necessarily have to uphold when they're working with other people.
Yeah. So my concern is not Dre's production for that album. I think it's the content.
Yeah, I think so too.
I want to hear what a 2024 Dre and Snoop sounds like. I mean, we got glimpse of that, the Compton album and some unreleased Detox stuff that never dropped, but it was just like, nah, I want to see what the content from them two sounds like now. Because we heard the Dog Pound album and the tone and the nature of that was still very Dog Pound, but I do want to know what that Dre and Snoop content is going to sound like in modern day right now.
I agree. Now, one thing we do know in the conversation of the Marsha Ambrosia album, we do know that the engineering is going to be great on this album. That's going to be great. The sound of it's going to be top notch. That goes without saying. But like you said, the big question mark is the content. And we're so used to hearing them on some gangster shit or some party shit. And it's not going to be as believable this time around. And Dre even said himself, the content's going to be different. It's going to be more adult. And I want to know what that sounds like when it comes to Dre and Snoop.
Yeah, definitely. And I like these artists and locking in with one producer and really getting in there, experiment and make stuff happen. And it makes me wonder what other producers do I want to hear lock in with certain artists. Like I would love, I mean, we could say Premier, we could say Q-Tip, we could say whatever other artists you could think of that for me, from people hailing themselves best producers, whatever, I really want to know what a modern day 2024 fully produced Timbaland album would sound like with an artist. Who can you see with him and doing that? Or who can you see locking in with a Swiss Beats? Do you think Swiss Beats can give you that type of album with somebody?
I would like to see Timbaland lock in with JID.
Ooh, okay. That'll be different. That'll be cool.
Because I think JID can catch his beats. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he could.
The cool thing about Tim, the cool thing about Tim is very versatile in his beats that he doesn't get a lot of credit for. So I think he could produce anything for anybody. I really want to see what an Alchemist album would sound like with a newer artist as opposed to the underground or your average, really lyrical artist. Like I want to see what that sounds like with a modern day spitter, just to get that mesh up. I also want to see what a mesh of an R&B and hip hop album will sound like with Pharrell, now. There's certain people
says, I think that we're being overpromised on this Dr. Dre album. I say it's gonna be like Get Rich or Die Trying, where we get 5 Dre beats and a bunch of other West Coast producers with Dre executive producing. You know what? Might be right. That might be true.
You think it's gonna be like 2001? I'm not mad at that if it is.
Oh no. I think he's saying that it's gonna be like Get Rich or Die Trying, where we get like 5 Dre beats and there's gonna be other producers and Dre just engineer it. I wouldn't be mad at that either, but what we're being promised though is it's a Dr. Dre and Snoop album. But if we don't get that, and and as long as it doesn't sacrifice the quality, it might be better if we do get Dr. Dre on a few and other producers on the other, and Dr. Dre engineering those records. That might be the best of both worlds. Really,
that's probably a topic we need, something we have to create a poll with. Like, what producer do you want to see match up with an artist to create a magic album? You know what I'm saying? Like, like what would be a good producer and artist combination that you would like to see in 2024 or 2025? That would be a good one. Because I want to know what people's opinions are on that, because there's some people who I have in mind who I want to hear that, lyrically, some people may not put them up there, but when it comes to the creativity and record making, I would want to hear.
Well, fine. Yeah, man. But yeah, great show. I think that LL and Q-Tip did a really good job, and I do agree with you. I would like to see them do a volume 2 of this. I think we're going to get a volume 2 of Common and Pete Rock because they said it was volume 1. So, we'll see. But yeah, that was dope. They did a great job. But yeah, man, good stuff. And I still think Wayne should have been the pick, but I'm sure we can go on and on about
it. Man, I hope to see how that plays out, man, because I really would not like to see it be in New Orleans, not have a New Orleans or a Louisiana artist contribute, and it doesn't have that New Orleans culture in it. But I do think it's a win for hip hop to still have Kendrick on there, and I feel like he brings the message and he has the showmanship for it to be a big thing. So I don't think he made the wrong decision. I think he's going to prove he didn't make a wrong decision from having Kendrick there. But I mean, I just don't know the comparison of Wayne to K-Dot. I don't want it to become that because I don't think it has anything to do with it. I just think it was just a better business sense.
And we don't want to miss the moment. And you're right. Congratulations to Kendrick Lamar. This is a big moment for him. This is a big moment for hip hop, for him to be the first solo hip hop artist to grace that stage. It's a big moment. And I think even with all the naysayers out here, it's going to put a battery in Kendrick's back to put on an even better show than he was already going to put on. So
definitely,
that's the win-win here.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. Appreciate you coming through, man. You know what I'm saying? Do this again.
Yes, sir.
Everybody here, like and subscribe. We appreciate y'all joining us on today's show. And yeah, we got some more heat coming for you. Just stay tuned. Working on a few things right now. Tunchi.